to Snake Talk. I have a couple friends with me tonight. We've
got
Jeremy,
friends?
we've got Anthony, we've got Jay on the thing. Sorry for being a little bit late. I apologize, guys, but we are here, and we'll make up for it, right? With the most epic podcast of all time.
I thought we were ending early.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, guys, thank you for joining us. It's been really fun.
Happy Easter.
It's been really fun. Happy Easter. So, yeah. So, no, I apologize. I actually had my grandson's upstairs.
Yes.
And it's the first time that he's been to the Reptarium, so of course I wasn't going to...
You baptized him in the pond?
Yeah, I stuck him in the...
Anaconda enclosure?
Was it wrong to go head first into snapping turtle?
Not at all, dude. That's how Barczyk baptism works.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know. Everyone was looking at me like I was real weird, but I didn't know. I thought it was...
They probably didn't think it was your kid or your grandson.
Yeah, give me your kid.
Yeah, come on, let me show you something.
No, but I had to, certainly had to... he touched his first snake.
No way.
Not on purpose, but I made his hand touch a snake. But he seemed to be interested in. He was like really like smiling, and he was really into stuff. So I couldn't not have that experience.
That's awesome.
So sorry for being late for a few minutes here, but I had to go spend that 5 or 10 minutes with my grandson in the Reptarium, and
we'll never let you live it down.
Because I just think like how cool is that going to be when he's running around? You know what I mean? Like,
he's going to love it.
It's going to be cool. Wild. So, so that's cool. So exciting, right? But, so anyways, welcome, guys. I appreciate you guys. We've been hanging out actually the last day and a half or so, whatever it's been. So you guys are, so obviously you both have been on the podcast before, so welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
and by the way, you guys in the super chats, please keep them coming. You can ask any one of us questions. Let's see, what are we experts in? I'm an expert in talking. Anthony, what are you an expert in?
Maybe emergency medicine on the EMS level.
Oh, okay, so I doubt if anyone's going to ask any questions there. But
you never know.
You're also a reptile guy.
Yeah.
So you know reptiles. And Jeremy, of course, you do
I can
Amazon
braid ponytails.
You can braid ponytails, really?
really
well. Don't threaten me. You obviously work with all kinds of ball pythons, carpet pythons, Amazon tree boas.
Yeah.
What's the morph? What's like? You have a pretty diverse collection, but like, what is it that I know you're really into Amazon tree boas? But is that like the animal, or is there?
Niche. It's actually carpets.
Carpets
are
okay. Interesting. Okay.
I focus a lot on breadlie and jungles, so that's really where my focus has been.
Have you seen? I know you have over in Australia the albino Brettles carpets.
What?
Yes.
So they're not really pure Brettles. They were albino Darwins that were
Okay.
crossed in, but then crossed back out.
They look
and you can actually punch it up. It's albino Brettles carpet pythons. I mean, they are like so bright.
Yeah. Dude, it's insane. The first time I saw pictures of them, I
think Joe Ball was the first one to do them. And I'm going to take you to the picture to your left. Go
this one?
Or no, I'm sorry, to your right.
Yeah.
One more. Right there.
Yeah, these are sick. This one's
Look at that. So
man.
obviously you have just like a normal Darwin's carpet python up top, and then the albino Brettles down below.
And
this is insane.
Well, I guess there's two albino Brettles down below.
Yeah.
Because there's two heads.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even see that.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah, they're freaking nuts, man.
Yeah. So I think Joe Ball was the first one that did it. Did it down in Queensland, and why hasn't anyone done them here?
I think it's because so many people in the carpet world are
like,
persnickety,
don't
the purist,
you dare.
Yeah, the purist concept.
Don't you dare,
I think
you
there's more
bastards.
people that are starting to kind of come around a little bit.
Yeah.
Now we've got the lumping of jungles and coastals.
Right. Yeah. Now that they're
being the same thing.
Yeah,
So it's like, it's not jungle jack's not a pure jungle, and
it's interesting. Like, what's your take on that? How let's hit a couple supers before we get going, because I want you guys in the super chat to be involved in this conversation. I do not want you guys to go to sleep on me. And by the way, while you guys are out there, hit the that like button, please.
Becky says, just throwing some love. Appreciate you,
Hey, Becky, what's going on? She actually sent some lobster in a can. I don't know. They
Did it get here?
No, it came back. It's like it
got sent back?
Got sent back. She's in Canada.
Yeah, they're like, no, you're not getting rid of our delicacies.
Keep the lobsters over
So
here.
so you're from Boston. So there. I mean, do you have lobsters in a
lobster
can?
rolls all day, man.
Yeah, lobster rolls. We know. I'm all about the lobster rolls. But do you have like canned lobsters?
I don't think I've ever seen.
Yeah, like
they do back milk out there, all that stuff.
Yeah. So
I've seen crab and like lobster in cans.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is.
It's not
yeah.
very good.
It's not, no, but I think she had like fresh lobster.
Oh,
that like
wow.
she like puts in like mason jar or something
that
like that.
sounds
Like
good.
like it's like the real deal. I don't know how they preserve it. It's like
Right.
probably it's probably rotten. But,
By the time it got here, it would.
yeah, but unfortunately it didn't come to us. So
Damn, that sucks.
but it's
Win some, you lose some.
But I do have to get out to the East Coast and get some. We're going to Maine. Have you ever been to Maine? Have you guys been to Maine?
No.
I've only been once, and that was to testify at a hearing for USARC related hearing
I
years
was going to say, what did you do, man? That's right, I
There's
testified.
a reason for this right here. Gotta let them know.
When I joined the Crips, I had to Bloods in the Crips. So we're gonna do Maine this summer, and we're gonna get some lobster rolls. We're literally going out there just for lobster rolls.
Just for lobster. Oh yeah,
Like that's it.
That's the spot.
But
if you're gonna get.
apparently, there's several really cool
Collections out there.
reptile collections out there.
Yeah, there's a
So,
handful out there
yeah,
for
so,
sure.
So we'll have some fun. So
Heck yeah.
Anyway, so thank you.
Tiffany says, Brian, Jay, guess what she's cheating on BHB? This pink-haired lady's getting a snake from someone else, which is better, Busy or Kizzy.
Well, I can't
Renee.
tell you if you're getting a snake
cheater.
from someone else,
No,
man.
that's
Little
a wrap.
Cheater.
That's it, man. I
You
tell
can't buy from
I call
Brian
it-
ever again.
I call it lazy. That's what I call it. Lazy.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe dizzy.
Yeah, Dizzy.
Like Tiffany, you're dizzy. No, I hope it's cool. Whatever.
Good
it is,
luck with it.
Yeah, good luck with it.
Turkey Lipstick says, hey, fellas, glad to see Jeremy's in there. Tell him Nerd is messing up without him. LOL, have a good afternoon, fellas.
Well, I mean, it was a big loss for Nerd losing you.
course.
Obviously, you had to pursue your own thing and stuff like that. I'm sure, knowing, coming from a collection that is so reliant on my crew.
Yeah.
I mean, like losing someone like that's so
huge.
important is just huge, and I'm sure that it is a difficult thing, and it's probably going to be. A period of time before they maybe find someone that can step into that role, and it may be several people at the same time stepping into that role instead of one person doing a lot of things. So
That was one of the hardest things when I did decide to step away that I knew was I grew up going to Nerd, so I already had 10 years or so of already going to that facility, knowing Kevin's genes and learning those things. So going there, it was really just, I need to learn the inner workings of the business, but the rest of the stuff, I already know. It's fine. So I definitely recognize that was like a big loss, for whoever they're going to hire. Like nobody else is really going to come in.
Yeah, going to
with
have that
already
10
there.
years of already. Yeah, exactly. Have you ever been, Anthony, to Nerd?
No, I want to go, but
It's about maybe a 5-hour drive.
Yeah, but it's a stretch for me to come out here. So one day I'm going to do it. you know? I don't want to get on Kevin's bad
Well,
side before I
I'm
meet
so
him.
glad that you came out. Though. I'm so glad that you came out. This is the second time you guys came out,
Yeah, man.
and you and your wife, and we appreciate you tremendously.
For sure.
for doing
Appreciate your
it.
hospitality, man.
Oh no, it's just great having friends out, just hanging out. Being able to just chit chat about life and chit chat about reptiles and whatever else we've talked about. Which I can't say most of.
Yeah.
What we talked about.
Privileged information.
Privileged information. Let me just tell you, it had to do with a blow-up doll and no.
Wait, he told you about that?
Whoa.
Yeah, that we found in Jay's car.
Yeah, Carl. Yeah. That's her name, dude.
That's her name.
Yeah. That's her, man.
Yeah, she's
sweet.
She's a good girl.
Full of hot air,
Yeah, sir.
Ben says, hey guys, Brian, if you can have a look at the pics of my cresties that I sent Jay, as I don't truly know their morphs, and also hope you guys are doing well. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll have
to check it out, brother.
We'll check it out. I'll probably have to defer to Jessica because I really don't know much about crested geckos. I mean, she knows all the harlequins and blah blah blah, Halloweens and all that type of stuff.
Morphs that have been popping up over the last couple of years.
Yeah, what's
too.
the recent one that just popped
The
up?
mocha?
the cappuccino?
Cappuccino,
or something like that.
Cappuccino.
Yeah.
Can we punch it up? I don't think I've
yeah.
ever even seen a cappuccino
sick.
crested gecko.
Because I think there's a super, and the super looks like almost scaleless.
That's what they
really
said.
insane.
Yeah. That's what I heard. The super cappuccino looks like scaleless. So that's interesting.
That's like one species I don't know much about just because I just never got into it.
Okay, so it's super dark. It's almost like melanistic, huh? And I was
That's what
the super. Punch up the super cappuccino, which is the second picture.
This one right here?
Yeah, it does look like.
Jeez.
So
that's
it does.
cool,
It's missing. It's missing all the tubercles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It-
scaleless
it's-
as I've ever seen it.
That sure looks scaleless to me.
Yeah.
That's
It's
cool
crazy
too,
looking.
man.
Yeah.
Looked like an alien. Like when you look at
Yeah.
it face on, I've seen a
Yeah,
couple pics from the
yeah,
face,
yeah.
and you're like, oh my god, the thing looks so weird.
An
Yeah.
alien day gecko.
Wow.
Yeah, that is really
Yeah,
strange.
So
look
it's,
at that,
you know what
yeah.
I find is interesting is that crested geckos were being bred for so many years, and nothing was popping up. And then the Axanthics popped up, and the Lily Whites popped up, and now the Cappuccinos have popped up. And it's just interesting that those genetics, I mean, the founder stock of crested geckos are probably not that variable. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably the same founder stock that's been here since the 80s when Philip de Vosgeli or something like that brought them in. I don't think there's been any new crested geckos brought into the country in the last 20 years or something.
Yeah.
So... And then I find it interesting that there hasn't been pies. I mean, there was patient 0, but it never proved out.
Right.
And then there was, there's never been actual pies. There's never been leucistics. There's never been albinos. But yet now, after all these years of hundreds of thousands of crested geckos being produced, all of a sudden they're popping out some things. So you wonder if the future is. I mean, even with a closed gene pool, I find it a little bit interesting that we're now starting to see things.
Just the right two animals have to get together.
Yeah,
yeah, that's exactly it.
But
I think it's the blooming of the hobby itself. Like, everyone's working with them, and you're just eventually going to get something.
Yeah, but it still seems unusual to me, because you've had the Pangeas of the world, and back
Ripping
in the
through
day,
many,
Repashy, and these guys that were producing tens of thousands a year. I mean, this isn't like small numbers, and yet they never really popped out anything.
And out of nowhere, a bunch popped out.
Would it depend on how they're breeding them? Like, if they're just breeding the same male and female year after year to produce. Versus
but I think they were. I think there was enough diverse stuff,
Gotcha.
and typically that's how you're gonna, not the same male and female, but the same gene pool is how you're going to eventually maybe get a mutation.
That's right.
Because all recessives concentrate, so you have to concentrate. The chances are probably better off of like breeding cousins and whatever together to produce a mutation than it is, say, two random, completely different animals that carry the phenotype. It seems almost impossible, but I find it interesting. I like them. I think I heard some people not liking, like, the super cappuccinos or whatever.
Like what? Is there something wrong with them, or are they just...
Speaking of that, no, I think it's a scaleless. Did you see the scaleless cobra?
Yeah,
I did.
dude.
I did.
I saw Tom Crutchfield posted, and he said the next horrible thing to happen to the reptile trade, or the next big thing that's going to be terrible for the reptile hobby.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little bit of a backhanded jab at some of us morph guys out there. I mean, come on, if it's got scales, it's too much.
Yeah.
Take them scales.
Yeah, how many reptiles are supposed to really have scales?
Yeah, come on.
I mean, if God wanted them to have scales, he wouldn't have made scaleless heads.
Right.
Fair point, dude.
I just think it goes back to that. Everybody that's ever been like, it's an abomination, it's terrible. It's like, well, it does happen naturally.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's interesting how scaleless become a really touchy point compared to, say, albinism or
100%. Albinism comes with the same amount of problems.
An albino has just as little chance of surviving in the wild as a scaleless, but somehow everyone's okay with albinos. Not everyone. Like, here's the thing: the people that were like, "Hey, I don't like albinos and I hate scaleless," I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If I'm like, I love albinos, I have 20 of them in my collection, but I hate scaleless.
That's a little weird.
That's hypocritical. I don't even know if it's hypocritical. I think it's maybe lack of education.
Yeah.
Because if they were educated on the fact that a mutation is a mutation no matter what it is, as long as it's like, not detrimental to the health of the animal.
Right.
Where with ball pythons, it really is detrimental, so I understand that one. But with corn snakes and rat snakes, they thrive.
They thrive,
And who knows, that king cobra out of... I don't think it was a king. Was that a Thailand?
Spectacle.
Spectacle, yeah. Yeah, so it's cool. All right, what we got?
Tiffany came back to say it's from Lindsay.
Oh.
And she said her Dizzy already died once.
Well, if it's from Lindsay, you have to call it Dizzy.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. If Lindsay's listening, she probably isn't listening because she's given all her soul away from blood transfusions.
So
she's
all that
plasma. She's been donating plasma every day for the last 6 months. She doesn't.
It's hard times, dude. Ever since the pandemic,
it's
been real rough out there.
So if it's from Lindsay, it's definitely soulless, to say the least.
Prim says, "Hi, Reptile Army."
We love you, Lindsay.
Yeah, of course. Says, "Hi, Reptile Army. What is the most beautiful morph you like personally? I have a super pastel orange fire, but want to get another special ball python."
Special ball.
What's your favorite morph?
What do you think? What do you guys think? Special ball python.
My morph wise, I throw pinstripe at everything.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
There's just something about it.
The guy that made it is
super handsome.
I heard
real handsome guy.
I heard he's a bit of a douche.
The guy that made it, man, Brad Pitt like, right?
In essence.
He is very handsome.
Actually, I just saw to sidetrack. I saw Lost City with Sandra Bullock and
Oh, yeah, it was
and Channing Tatum, and Brad Pitt's in it.
Yeah.
For just a short period of time. I won't ruin it. I won't say what happened to Brad Pitt. But at some point, he's like this adventure guy. He's like Mr. Adventure guy, and he's like, able to like, kill people on a whim. And he's flipping around, and he's saving her from like she's like been hijacked, and he's saving her. And at one point, she's like, "Why are you so handsome?" And he goes, "My dad's a weatherman." He played his role was not significant, but it was very, very good.
Yeah,
it was very, very good role. So I think if anyone wants a good laugh, that was a good movie, The Lost City. So
Love
there you
it.
go. Yep.
Anyone else want to answer?
Oh yeah, the ball
Morph?
python morph. Yeah.
Morph. I'm super drawn to Hidden Gene Woma stuff.
I hate the name though.
Yeah.
I do hate the name. It makes no sense.
No, I don't mind the name.
No, I don't know what it is about the gene. It's just always kind of captivated me.
Yeah.
Maybe
It does some really
maybe
cool
it's
stuff.
It does do some really cool stuff, and maybe again just because I've been around nerd for so long, it's just been one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's a cool snake, man.
Yeah, I hate to sound like it's pretty. Like everyone's going to probably say like the color type of thing. But I mean, I do really love Orange Dream stuff. I mean, there's just
Cool,
Orange Dream
man.
is just
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Yep.
And with the genes that you're already working with, Super Pastel, Orange, Fire,
It'd be
Orange
perfect.
Dreams really go well with Fire,
Pastels, all that.
Pastel and Orange Dream is great.
Get a couple
so,
edges
so
in there.
get yourself into Orange Dream, and that's going to make a beautiful animal.
sure.
But especially if you can do like Orange Dream, something like a Super Orange Dream.
That's the supers, man.
Something,
We can start seeing that craziness.
Yeah, yeah.
Becky came back to say, I'm going to send it again, and if it does not make it, I'll personally bring some.
All right.
I will
there
also
you go.
send some bottles of bar clams. Is that what it says? Bottle.
Also,
Yep,
bar
some
clams.
bottle
She
bar
has the
clams.
craziest stuff.
Bottle
I think she makes most of this up. To be honest with you,
I think she just made up that
Have you ever
word. I've never
of
heard those
bar
three words
clam?
together.
A bar clam. You're from Boston. Have you ever heard of a bar
You ever
clam?
heard of a damn
I
bar
haven't.
clam?
Maybe it's like in the bar. They
There's a
have
clam?
they have clams in a bar,
Almost
like
like
how
bar
they have
nuts
like
on a half shell?
yeah, like bar nuts,
right,
or
right.
like you have
Definitely
like
never. Just have some clams
like
just
pickled
sitting out on
egg,
the bar.
like
Yeah,
pickled
yeah.
eggs or something like
Imagine
that.
getting
Some
wasted
warm-
and puking that up.
Yeah,
Oh,
some warm clam.
so bad. Ugh.
Yeah, first
no.
first time you puke up bar clams, you'll never eat
10
bar
out of
clams
10
again.
don't recommend.
Yeah, you're not doing it again. Yeah.
Susan says, "Hey Brian, hope you and the guys are doing good. Just joined and just wanted you to know, or just wanted to know what you thought of Nerd's video on Chandler."
Next.
Yep. Allison said, "Finally got my bugs."
Let me just say,
Yeah.
listen. I talked to Kev today. I love Kevin to death. I also am friends with Chandler. I truly believe, this is my thoughts on this. I think if those two got in the room and egos aside, they would get along tremendously.
Yeah.
They're very similar in their passion for conservation. And I think that Chandler would respect Kevin if he looked beyond, whatever it was that made Chandler mad at Kevin. I don't know exactly. I think it was like Donnie said something that was like kind of off the cuff, almost a joke, like kind of like, hey, look at you could take your King Cobra and get a bath, give it a bath, and you could get 14 million views. And I think it was like Donnie was trying to give him a compliment in a way, like,
Right.
look at this is the way to go. And I think
It was received
I
in
think
a
he
poor way.
received it as like, and I understand how he could receive it that
Right,
way
right.
because you could you
Make it seem like that's all you need to do,
Yeah,
yeah.
depending on your bias, you could either say, oh, they were actually giving me a compliment, like, hey, I got 14 million views and became really popular on YouTube because I did this thing, or you could take it as like, oh, they just threw some shade at me.
Yeah, there's
Right.
no
I mean-
skill involved. All you got to do is put your Cobra in a bathtub.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I understand both sides of it, but I really believe if Chandler put that aside and said, and you got to remember, Kevin didn't do that anyways. That was Donnie that did that,
Right,
you
right,
know?
right.
So not that I'm bashing Donnie. I'm just saying that, I'm sure Kevin didn't have anything to do with that sequence. And I think that if they could put their differences aside, I think they would really get along. I've spent time with Chandler. I love Kevin. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. But I think they would get along. So that's what we'll leave it at that.
Love it. Allison says, "Finally got my bugs to reproduce. Thanks for the advice on Chico and Pascal."
Awesome. Well, good for you. Thank you so much.
This one was deleted, so I'll see if I can find it again later.
Later.
Turkey Lipstick came back and said, "Also, Jay, I just
Lipstick.
sent you a
There it goes.
There she goes. She's gone now.
Turkey lipstick. Where you
That's
at,
how much time
Turkey?
you get. Sent a picture on Instagram, an article that popped up on my newsfeed of Brian kissing the king cobra. Pretty random.
We heard, yeah,
I just told him about that this
so
morning.
I don't know if you guys know. I mean, it's going to be a big deal when you hear this, okay? So
just brace yourself.
Just brace yourself. But I'm pretty famous in India, okay? So I
You
just
know,
want to tell you that.
I've heard that before.
Yeah,
I've
pretty
heard that.
famous in India.
Really?
Yeah, right
so
now it's
I
crushing.
made some major national Indian news.
NDTV.
NDTV. Shout out to NTV, all you people out there watching. I made the news over in India yesterday, and they said nice things about me. They called me an expert. They called me handsome.
They also called you Mr. Barczyk.
They called me Mr. Barczyk
wow.
several times.
Real fancy.
Did they call me? No, they didn't call me handsome. Damn it.
No, that was me.
I made that part
I kept
up.
putting that in there just to juice it up a little bit.
Part up. They said Brad Pitt look-alike.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Kisses Cobra.
Kisses
Expert.
But they did call me an expert, and they did call me Mr. Barczyk a couple times.
Which is good enough for me.
That works. That works.
So no, it was a good art. It was funny. I mean, these things happen, and I don't really know how they got it. I mean, I know the clip was out on YouTube or on Instagram. And I don't even know if that clip went like super viral. I think it got like maybe 150,000 views or something like that. So it wasn't like one of our super viral ones, but somehow it made the India news. And there you go.
really cool,
So thank you, India. We appreciate you.
And thanks, Turkey Lipstick, for showing me that.
Yeah,
'cause
thank
I wouldn't
you.
have found that.
Oh, so he's the one that sent it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Thank you, Turkey Lipstick.
awesome.
But his name is not Turkey Lipstick on Instagram, so I didn't know, or I would have gave you credit. But it's a crazy name, dude. It makes me think all kinds of things, to be honest with you. Collier says, hope you all are having a great Easter weekend. You too, bro.
It is. So far, it's been great, man, and I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, my grandson's in town. My daughter and son-in-law are in town tomorrow, which is great. My mom's birthday is tomorrow.
Hey.
86 years old. So
Sister's birthday too.
look at that. See that? She's probably not 86 though.
No, not that I know. I don't know.
Not anymore.
She could be. She could be. I'm not
She
sure.
was last year.
She acts like it.
Yeah, she's 87 this year. Yeah, last year she was 86. But so yeah, it's gonna be nice to spend some time with the family tomorrow, and rare time that I can't remember the last time we were all together. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because it was like COVID, and then
It was supposed to be Christmas, right?
right.
But then I think just like Jade, obviously Jade was
yeah,
close
Jade,
to going.
Jade had the baby,
and didn't we went to Beast right before that, right?
No,
and we came back
Right? Yeah, we came back from
like
Beast,
the day
and then-
that she was going
yeah,
into
yeah,
labor.
yeah,
for
so,
me.
it was yeah.
So it was a while. It's been a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's been a couple years since, and of course my mom did meet my grandson once, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So this will be the first time that we're all together
Oh,
ever.
that's cool.
Awesome. Yeah,
ever.
that's really
and,
cool.
and like I said, as a family, we haven't got together much because my mom is older and COVID and all that other stuff. So so it's gonna be cool.
gonna be
tomorrow.
great.
Be a
that'd be cool.
good day.
Yeah.
And you're going back to your Chitlin.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm actually like getting that I was telling Jeremy, I just miss my kid. I haven't been away from him this long ever.
Really?
Yeah. Longest I ever been away was one day. The last time I was here.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is 2 days and I'm like dying inside.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
miss
good.
him.
That's good though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's good. You'll have a good day tomorrow.
Yeah,
Got
I think
anything
so.
special planned?
Yeah, we're gonna send him on an Easter egg hunt. That's why we came here a little bit
Oh,
late.
okay.
So we had to go get a whole bunch of those plastic eggs.
Yeah.
My wife's gonna draw pictures, so we're gonna have him just like run around the house, and it's
Yeah.
gonna eventually lead to something that he's been asking for like months.
Oh,
Gotcha.
that's awesome.
That's cool.
So
Hey,
Heck yeah.
hey, Jay.
Yeah.
You guys in the chat over here and stuff like that. I'm gonna airdrop you
Yeah.
the picture.
It's your computer, so you got it.
Yep, I'm gonna airdrop you the picture. I just want people's opinion of tomorrow.
no. You're showing them already?
I want a picture. So this is tomorrow's vlog.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Did you put it on your Instagram story, right?
I did put it on my Instagram, so you could check it out on Instagram at Snake Bites TV. So this is the thumbnail for
Oh my
tomorrow's
gosh.
vlog,
What do you guys think?
and I'd love
So
to know your
good.
thoughts. And actually, the rabbit did change a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So this is the first iteration.
Yeah.
The second iteration's a little bit different. But did I question just in the chat? Did I go too far? Did I take it too far this time?
Oh man.
I will say it was 100% Jay's idea.
Yeah. I came up with it just in case anyone gets bent out of shape.
Yeah. Actually, Donnie from Nerd
I was waiting.
Oh no.
came up with that idea.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to know. So I don't know. What do you guys
Oh,
think?
gosh.
What's your first thoughts?
I mean,
could've
the
went
first
further.
thought I saw it, I was like, this is wonderful.
But then the more you thought about
The more
it,
I thought about it, I'm like,
you're going to hell.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool, man. Like I seen, it, I was like, perfect.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
good,
It's
good.
my
Well done.
humor.
It's well
Well,
done.
it is.
my humor.
In reality, please watch tomorrow's vlog.
It's great, yeah.
It's, I think it's going to be amazing. I mean, we know what we filmed and stuff like that. Noah's been working. Jay worked on it
Yep.
quite a bit earlier in the week, and then Noah's been working on it for the last 4 days. So I'll actually get to watch it for the first time when we're done with the podcast, and it gets uploaded tonight and goes live tomorrow. But we did, in all fairness, it's not really clickbait. We did dress someone from our crew up in the Easter Bunny is right there, as a matter of fact.
yeah,
There it is.
yeah.
Happy Easter Bunny.
Sheesh.
And it's pretty scary, isn't it?
We were supposed to put it on the T-Rex.
Put it
before
on the
we
T-Rex.
started.
That
Get
would
it.
It'd be my luck.
Well,
on
then it'll
knocking
block
over.
the T.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
block the-
it's okay.
But
We'll
yeah,
take
so
the picture. That can
please
be the
watch. But
thumbnail.
I would love to know in the chat what you guys think about that picture. If you think that I went too far or not.
See if we
you
got
know.
anybody already.
Just-
I can't wait to see it. it's great, honestly. That's an awesome thumbnail. LOL. Donnie came up with it. Great job. Great humor. That's great.
awesome.
Yes.
So little
no
do
problem.
they know the whole video
Love
is just
it.
10 minutes of the thumbnail.
Yeah, that's it. 10 minutes. you
With
just
sounds
look
of the
at
ocean in the background.
You knew?
It's
You
perfect.
watched it already?
Yeah, I got Noah gave me an inside glimpse.
We actually filmed an entire vlog, but we decided the thumbnail was so good that we just didn't want to ruin the thumbnail with the video. So
It's going to crush.
just
Oh, yeah.
that
Click-through
video.
rate's going to be crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's going to be nuts. All right, where's Jared?
Potterhead says Baby
Oh,
Nathan
Potterhead.
is definitely worth starting late.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I mean, and he, like I said, he seemed to love the animals. I just, again, my kids were around the animals, obviously, growing up and stuff like that, but we didn't have like a reptile zoo. So, it's like, I remember Noah opening up drawers and getting bit by Kenyan Zambos when he was 3 years old.
Not the greatest introduction,
Yeah,
right?
So now we got I don't think
It's a
he's gonna be
special
running around.
place for a kid to see, for sure.
Yeah, and I can't wait till obviously he's only 3 months old, so he's still obviously
got a
he
ways
doesn't
to
know
go.
his geniuses yet.
yeah.
Give him a couple
But we
months.
made him flashcards today.
Yeah, here you go. Is this an orange dream or it's a desert ghost?
It's a Tarahumara Mountain King.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy
Say Terra
Pensacola.
Mahara-
Oh yeah.
Holy Pensacola.
What is it? What is the one that I like? I forgot.
Apalachicola County.
Yeah, dude.
Apalachicola County.
That's a good one. That's good. I hope that's little Nathan's first words.
Oh, here's the soul. Here's the
The
soulless.
soulless one speaks. Lindsay says, Brian, I have no words. So mean. How's that Baron's racer? Must be a soulless snake.
Lindsay, we love you. Yeah, and we wouldn't make fun of you if we didn't love you enough.
True.
And so she's the one that you saw the Barons.
Yeah, the
She's the
Barons
one
is
that gave us the
awesome.
Barons. So
Oh,
so
man,
it's
that's
really,
awesome.
It's really
Heck yeah,
cool.
it's such
So,
a cool snake.
Yep. I mean, it was really good. It's eaten now right out of my hand. I mean,
Really?
it
That's
was just
so cool.
right
Yeah.
out of my hands and stuff like that. It's
They're
a
so
beautiful
once
snake.
they're 4 or 5 feet,
Oh,
just
just
really
a cool
tractable
snake.
snake.
Yeah,
They're
cool
so
snake.
cool, man.
I love it though. So another video we have coming. Can I even talk about that video or no?
I mean, it's your channel,
video.
bro.
No, I mean, I'm just wondering if we're so far out. I don't know if I.
It
wanna
would be
put-
next Sunday's video. You
Yeah,
can give
next
them a little
Sunday.
tease.
Yeah,
It's just our peeps.
Lindsay helped out. She's a registered nurse, so she came and she actually took blood from me, and then we milked some venomous snakes and actually did an
Oh,
experiment
cool,
of how it would work on the blood and stuff like that. It's been done.
Yeah,
But we.
But it's still interesting
it's
to
interesting.
see.
We've
We
never
have
seen it in
done-
person,
Yeah, I've
so-
never seen
Right.
it in person. So we did it, and so that'll be the video that Jay will work on. And,
Yep,
you
I'll be
the
working on
next-
that this week. Yep.
This week, and then
Yeah.
then Noah takes and does the finish, and that'll be out next Sunday. So
You guys are going to love it. It would be a good one, for
yeah,
sure.
but it was good.
Is it Carlota?
Kalota?
I think so. Carlota says, Brian, where will all the Reptarium animals go when there is heavy construction during 3.0?
Yeah.
And how long will you have to close the Reptarium for business during construction?
So the goal is that, you got to be careful when you say heavy construction. There won't be any, the heavy construction happens outside the building,
Yeah.
right? So there's not really going to be any heavy construction inside the building until the very end. So which basically is going to happen is we're going to be building, there's a new wrinkle, of course, in this whole thing.
Of course.
That is interesting is that, the building across the street that I've said from the beginning I would love to have.
We got to get
They said that they're moving. Now, I don't know if the building's for sale or not.
Oh, dude.
But if it is for sale, we may move the Reptarium next door.
It should be
because
sick.
it has so much better parking.
It's already a bigger building.
we could do a ginormous thing. You know, there's a couple things I wouldn't like. I do like the idea of having, you know, I like having the idea of the 3 separate, you know, things like the upstairs, the midstead. I do like that, you know. So, but I'm just saying. So, anyways, my point is that be building all the heavy construction be outside wouldn't affect the animals at all. When we get to the point where we're ready to knock the wall down and make the new building part of the old building, there will be some quote unquote heavy construction. So what we'll have to do is put up a false wall that protects the animals.
Right.
And that's the only time that we'll have to shut the Reptarium down is when we do the false wall, knock the walls down. And I think that will be no less than 3 weeks, or no more than 3 weeks.
Right.
I think that we'll be shut down for 3 weeks is what I'm saying. And and then we'll be rocking and rolling. And my goal is that when we open after 3 weeks, the new reptile zoo will be open too.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll knock the wall out and start bringing enclosures in almost immediately, so that when we reopen 3 weeks later, it's twice the space, twice the animals, and then the aquarium. Then we work on that, and that takes another 6 to 8 months after that point, you know. So, but yeah, so it shouldn't affect the animals, and we won't have to move the animals off because we're not doing any intrusive things within this building until we knock that wall out. And again, we'll just put a false wall up to protect everything, you know, for that short period of time.
Damn.
Timothy says, last week I mentioned I was getting Reptilink scents and frog scents.
Yeah.
Worked to get one of my mangroves back on food.
Good for you. Good for you. That's good. You know, what do you think about Reptilinks? Have you messed with them ever?
I've never messed with them.
Okay.
I do like the fact that they offer the juices for scenting or whatever.
Yeah,
because a lot of times that's a challenging thing to get your hands on if you're trying to feed picky hognose snakes.
Yeah.
Something, I'll get some toad, and you're like, do I go to the witch store to go get some toad? You know, like, how do I do this?
Yeah,
I go to Salem.
yeah, exactly.
No, I find
need a
the
Spadefoot from
blending
Salem.
of the toad is what's the hardest part. You know, I always struggle
back
with
memories.
Yeah, I always struggle with, do I do it frozen or alive? And I don't know what to do.
Yeah, ribbiting it's drowned out by the sound of the blades.
Yeah, it's not as bad as you think, you know. But no, that's not true.
So bad.
Someone's going to cut that. Someone's going to cut just that piece out there.
Like, look at what he does.
See, I told you Brian's a bad guy.
Yeah. Blended frogs.
When Donnie's going to make a shade video on me, it's going to be that clip right there.
Woo!
Oh man.
Have you ever heard of Reptilinks?
Yeah. I've heard a couple people I know say they use them for hog noses.
Okay.
And got them to work really well.
Yeah.
But I just kind of see it as just be cool, buy like a cheap toad, you have another pet, and then just rub a pinky on it.
Yeah. I think the thing is, I talked about, like, I love the idea behind Reptilinks. If it was really successful with most, I think it's from my very loose understanding of what it is, seems like about 50% of snakes dig them and 50% don't, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the only bummer part. If you could get 80%, I think it's a slam dunk. I think you put the rodent business out of business. And I don't know if we can get to that point. I don't know. Maybe we can get to 80%, you know, maybe with just tweaking the formula a little bit. I don't know. I don't know anything about what his process is. But I love the idea of Reptilinks because, you know, it again, all those, you know, spouses or mothers or whatever the case is that don't want rodents in their freezer, you know, don't mind that sausage, you know.
Right.
And I think it could really change the entire reptile hobby to be more mainstream if Reptilinks actually was something that was a viable option to feed. And I hope it will become that because I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Ironically enough, before Reptilinks became Reptilinks, long time ago, you know Ernie Wagner? Do you remember Ernie?
Yeah.
He was, you know, legend in the reptile hobby. He was doing it on his own, like making sausages to feed his snakes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and but that was like 10 years, 15 years before Reptilinks became a thing. And I don't think like Reptilinks, I think they were just, you know.
It was just like
they had the same, I think Ernie stopped doing it long before. Like I think he was doing it just for his snakes and never marketed to the masses. And then, you know, 10, 12 years later, Reptilinks came about. So, so the concept I think is a really cool one.
Heck yeah.
And I'm glad it worked for you.
Turkey came back to say, well, I appreciate it, Jay. And I have 2 different accounts, but I use this one because I don't want you guys to think I was looking for a free shout out. LOL.
You ain't getting nothing.
You ain't getting nothing, baby.
Turkey. With a
What you
name
think
like
this
Turkey
is?
Lipstick. I wonder. I'd love to know what that means, though.
It sounds terrible, to be honest with you. Like, makes me think of like red crayon with like a dog or something, and I just hear turkey lipstick. I'm like fleshy colored lipstick. I'm good.
Oh, turkey lipstick. I'm trying to think like even what.
So
there's
bad,
dude.
Terrible. That's my head, dude.
I mean,
you come live here.
Someone is making that username up, and there's got to be a really good story behind it.
Turkey.
It's not just like let's put two words together, turkey lipstick. No, I'm sure there's a story behind turkey lipstick.
And we need to know it.
And we need to know it.
We do need to know it.
Turkey lipstick, come on the podcast sometime, brother.
Just to tell us the story.
Ball turkey.
See, the thing is, one Thanksgiving I got too drunk.
Yeah. I've always had Pam.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Marcel says, you're doing great work. Respect. Can't wait to visit.
Thank you so much, Marcel. Please come visit.
That's what I got for right now, Mr.
Oh,
Brown.
my God. Well, you guys keep hitting us up in the supers if you'd like. We'd love to talk to you guys. You guys keep the ship rolling. And,
That's right.
And we do appreciate all of your support. So what we were talking about before we started Super Chats. I know we were talking about something, and then I said, let's hit a couple Super Chats, and then you guys kept us occupied for a half hour.
Carpets.
Carpet
we were talking
pythons.
about carpets.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about carpets. We were talking about the albino Brettles,
Yep.
and how the carpet pythons now are kind of,
Oh, they're talking about getting lumped.
This is what
the
it's saying,
species.
lumping
Yeah.
and splitters. So
Yeah.
it's interesting how, like, it seems like Australia right now, whoever the taxonomist is starting to
lumping.
Right?
He's a lumper.
Whereas you have other places that are now splitting, and like making, like blood pythons, short tail pythons, something like that. They seem to be getting split more and more. Whereas, so it's weird, right?
It is weird. I mean, I think, when it comes to like the jungle and coastal thing, I mean, I think it's important to recognize that jungles now are not what jungles were when we were getting them out of Australia to begin with.
Yeah.
So the look of a jungle fresh out of the wild is not a neon yellow and
no,
black
they're
snake,
pretty ugly. Yeah, they're pretty ugly snakes.
Yeah. So when you look at that, you're like, okay, I could actually see how these might be, essentially the same snake.
Yeah. Although they're much smaller.
They are much
That's the only
smaller.
thing
That's
that
one of
makes
the big things.
coastals are. I mean, there was a place in Queensland that I caught a coastal carpet python with my buddy Smitty, and it was in a barn. He's like, "This, guarantee we go to this barn, we find this coastal carpet," and sure enough, it's there.
It was in there.
I mean, 10 foot.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
10 foot.
My
giant,
last coastal I had before I sold it and moved to North Carolina. She was all of 8+ foot and just a monster.
Yeah,
snake.
this is the biggest carpet I've seen. And Atherton Tablelands, you're looking at 4, maybe 4.5 foot.
Yeah.
So that's the only part I don't know about. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But then I guess you could make the same argument about retics and super dwarfs. Should super dwarfs be a different species or subspecies or something like that?
Yeah. So then there's the whole divergent evolution or whatever, and what does one environment look like over the other? There's so many random variables that go into that. So I don't know. I mean, it doesn't bother me anyway. I still call them jungle carpets. I'm not going out and changing that. But
I still think that I'm more. I'm probably more of a splitter than a lumper personally.
I would agree
because I don't like Stimsons and Children's being the same.
Right.
I don't like that.
About that
I don't
earlier.
like it. Yeah, because we just got a Simpsons clutch, by the way.
Oh, did we? Sick.
Just
Sweet.
got Stimson. 21 eggs.
Yeah, that was a good clutch.
It was a
Man.
really good clutch.
That might be the biggest Antracia clutch I've ever gotten.
You might be right, because I think 20 was the last time I've ever heard.
21 we got. So, but man, I love Stimsons were a dream of mine to have, and I had been. I've had children's pythons consecutively since I was 17 years old.
Oh,
right,
man.
so I've never not had children's pythons.
And then
right?
you finally get.
And then I finally get
great.
Stimson's pythons, and they make them the same.
Yeah. You're like,
no.
Barczyk got these. We got to change this up.
Yeah, yeah,
How do we screw him over?
Let's ruin this man's dreams. So but at the same time I don't like it splitting too much, you know what I mean? Like I think even like the Alafe thing got when they went from Alafe to Orthriophorus and Pantherophis and all of a sudden you had all the I liked it when it was Alafe Mollendorfi and Alafe gutata and now it's Orthriophis Mollendorfi or it's Pantherophis gutata. It's like why'd they do that? I mean they're all rat snakes. There's old world, new world. I get that, but then why are some of the new world rat snakes like black rats still different? Alafe as opposed to Pantherophis. You know what I mean? And
so,
so
it's weird how they come up with those things. I mean,
you
got to get taxonomist on and
I know.
discuss
I really
it, man.
do.
And
I
yell
really
at
do
him.
because I
Yeah,
don't.
yell at him. It's your fault.
Berate him.
Yeah, 'cause weirdly enough, I don't think I've ever actually met a taxonomist.
Really?
They're
I don't think so
hiders.
either.
Yeah.
They're under the rocks of lumping.
They're probably closet, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like
closeted taxonomists.
AA for taxonomists.
Yeah, they're like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I work in a factory.
Yeah, I've been working in a Ford plant for years.
Don't know anything about taxonomy if you want to know.
So I didn't bring that up.
Yeah,
Run away.
I'm not a taxonomist.
Dude, this is McDonald's.
Yeah, don't worry about it, guy. I just want a double cheeseburger.
yeah, exactly. I get that. No. But I think I'd like to have meet a taxonomist so they could maybe explain some of this stuff to me.
I'll fight him in the parking lot too.
I did
Because I mean, you think about even like Galapagos Island tortoises, right?
Right.
There's like, I mean, how many subspecies of Galaps are there? Do you guys know?
Oh, I have no
I mean,
idea.
there's a ton. There's a I mean, let's.
I don't
check
know
out-
if we could find it out, but
I'm sure there is. You know how many?
How many taxonomists are in Michigan?
Yeah, be careful at how many subs is in there. Whoa, wrong website.
Did you spell tortoise?
Tortoises.
I might have.
Tortoises.
12
Tortoise,
subspecies.
12 subspecies.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I
You
didn't know that.
And you know, I mean, they all look so similar, right? You
Right,
know, I
right,
mean,
right.
like you know,
Small differences in shell
small
and
differences,
head.
and they come from obviously a very small area. Galapagos Islands are not again, it goes back to like, let's say, I mean, you could probably make the analogous to say New Caledonian geckos, you know, like lychees or something like that.
Right.
It's like, you know, a different island has a different shape, a different size, but they're all Leachianus, you know.
Right.
Whereas in Galapagos, they're a little smaller, a little bit different size, but they're a different subspecies. So it's weird. I just wish there'd be consistency. is what I'm
Question
saying,
two for you,
know what I mean?
Brian. Do you remember you said? I think you said almost exactly what you just said to Sam at Florida Iguana and Tortoise.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Didn't he say species? Are they actually 12 different species of Galops?
Did you go back to that?
Yeah,
Is
let me
that-
look. I want to actually
it
look
says
real
12,
quick.
It says 12
Subspecies.
subspecies. It says 12 subspecies, though.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just wonder. 13 living species of Galapagos
Wow.
tortoise.
Oh,
So there's
interesting.
13 species and 12 subspecies.
Yeah.
So there's
interesting.
25 different.
Noted
And
different.
there's one of each, alive today.
Yeah, right. Jeez, we can't hybridize them though.
13 species and 12 subspecies. Wow, that's amazing.
Because I remember him saying that to you. He was like, species. And you were like, species? My God.
Yeah. What did Randy say?
I don't even know how to
Channel
get this.
Wildlife Kevin versus Nerd.
Snarfles.
Which
Which
Snarfle?
snake makes the better videos?
Well,
Um,
I'm just saying, Snarfles does talk.
So,
I mean, they're different, right? I mean, I think that they
Yeah.
both have interesting attributes, right? I mean, obviously, you got a giant king cobra,
Right.
yeah, that
which is really
you can
good.
interact with
And
to
then you
some
have,
degree.
you know, Snarfles, you know, that has the interesting personality behind it that only Kevin could do, you know. Oh, that's not Kevin, right? I mean,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's
what are you
only
talking about,
Snarfles
Kevin?
could be.
Yeah, only
Ke-
Snarfles could
only
do that.
Snarfles could do that. I do find it funny. I do, and that's why I'm saying I think they get along, right?
Yeah,
they
yeah.
both have characters of their self,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Right.
true.
They've got Snarfles,
Yeah, I mean,
and then Chandler is Mr. like whatever, you know.
yeah. I've only
So-
met Chandler once, but it just in that brief moment. Like I agree. I think if they were able to be in the same room,
Yeah, and they put all the bullshit aside.
Right,
like,
right,
put all
exactly.
the like
Ego
he said this,
and
he
shit,
said
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
you
get
know,
that out of
get it
them.
out and
Yeah.
just be like, all right, let's sit in a room
Talk
and talk
reptiles.
about it. And I think they would really get along, you know. But I love Kevin, the Cobra, and I love Kevin, the man at Nerd. But I also think Snarfles is amazing too. So
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
so
I think
yeah,
they're both
it'd
winners.
it'd be hard. It's like comparing, you know, two superheroes. You know what I mean? That are
But Batman's better, you know?
Yeah, well, you're a comic book guy.
Yeah, I was
what
gonna
superhero is the best?
Personally, I named my son after Green Arrow, so my son's name is
Oh.
Oliver.
Get out,
Yeah, that's
dude.
my personal favorite superhero.
Okay.
I tend to prefer the ones that don't have superpowers.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, that's more heroic to me.
yeah,
are
no,
you
just
are
some
you a
crazy
Marvel guy or a DC guy or
I'm a DC guy.
DC guy?
Dark, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since I was a kid, it was always about that like dark, gritty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then the '90s happened.
yeah.
Did you see the latest Batman?
I actually have not because sitting down for 3 hours is really hard for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
That's a lot of Adderall.
That's I'm the same way. I haven't seen it. And, I've heard from everyone that's really good, but could be 2 hours. That's what everyone I've
interesting. I haven't seen it either,
everyone
so-
I've heard that say that. You know,
There's
like
a lot of talking.
yeah, it's heard like it's a great movie. Could be an hour less, and it would be a even better movie.
Could have got back to my life.
I had a
What's
friend.
that?
Joker was really good.
Joker
Joker's
was
cool.
great.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, Joker was really good. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Dude,
You gotta go see it.
just
I mean,
getting to the
especially if you're in a
movies, man,
really
it's
good
hard.
mood, you just go see that. You won't be in a good mood. anymore.
Yeah. Oh man.
No, it's really good, dude.
You
Like,
feel
and I'm
like-
not a superhero person at all. It's a great movie
Yeah.
in
Really?
general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a very deep movie.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I like that
It's
shit.
not a feel good movie.
Fair enough.
Unless you
Yeah,
want to
when I
laugh
was-
at the other people, then you're fine.
right.
you know?
That's someone else's despair.
Yeah.
No, when I was living in Massachusetts, my roommate was like all into the superhero movies and stuff. So he would just hit me up and be like, "Hey man, you busy today? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check out this movie. You want to go?" And I
Yeah.
would just go just because
Yeah.
he invited me. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to find time to carve out to go to the movie. It's been
See, I'm a
challenge.
movie buff. I did go. Obviously, I just went to the movies last week for the first time in like 3 or 4 months. But I love movies. I mean, that's my release from everything. You know, when when I can watch a movie, whether it's at home or in the theater, that's like the way I can like shut my brain off. That's the only way my brain shuts off is usually when I'm deep into a movie. So so it's good. But looking forward to Doctor Strange coming out here in a few
that
weeks.
looks cool.
That looks like a good one. Yeah.
First one was so good.
Yeah, it's one of the better Marvel movies, I think, personally. I think it's one of the better ones. So, yeah, it's going to be really dope.
Berm Donor says,
What's up, Burn Domer?
listen in while getting ready for work. Y'all are awesome and happy Easter, Brian. We may be planning a trip in July for my niece's birthday. Hope to see
Awesome.
y'all soon.
Love it, man.
We're not going to be here. for
That's
that
right.
whole
We're
week.
shut down for whole July. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
Yeah, sorry, man.
They just made that decision today.
Yeah, just right now.
Yeah.
we just made this decision.
Closing up.
But,
going on the
but,
website
you know,
tonight. Yeah.
But hey, maybe you can come back next year. No, just kidding. I will be here. We always love to have you, man. He's a good dude. He came up and was on the potty here, just not the potty, but the podcast.
And
Maybe
the
both.
Yeah, most likely
maybe
both. It's a long
Most
podcast.
likely It's a long podcast. It does. Yeah, sometimes I use a Stadium Buddy for the podcast.
Yeah.
So
I just pissed myself. That's really it.
listen, I've done some 50-hour challenges. I know how to hold it.
Hold the
Jesus.
bladder.
I
I
know how
heard
to hold
Gatorade bottles, man.
Put a
Yeah.
couple rubber bands around her.
I have to ask, what happened when you had to take a dump?
Just don't.
Just don't.
Yeah.
I can't do
don't.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. You can if you can't. If you had to.
Yeah.
No, I'll stop in the middle of everything. It's time to go.
Well, let me. I
wanna-
mean,
yeah.
are you one of the guys that like you're on a plane and you go to the bathroom? Number 2.
No, like I will go. We talked about this actually.
Because I
It's like,
mean,
you ever
I think
pooed
that's
during
like a-
turbulence, man?
yeah, that's like a. I mean, I don't know. I think you might want to go to jail if you do that. You know,
You should.
I don't know. I mean, if you have to, you have to, I guess.
Right,
but
right.
but if you don't have to, you can hang on to that sucker hang on to that torpedo for a little longer. You know what I mean?
To feel even better when it gets to Kansas.
Dude, I have just so many feces stories.
Don't we all?
That's for my other podcast. That's for the other podcast.
That's for that potty.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That potty, yeah. But no, I always think that. You know, I understand like when you're on like a flying to Australia, I get it. Maybe that has to happen.
20-something hour flight.
But
Yeah.
you know, like I don't. You know, I mean, I hold it. I don't want to go into a public airplane bathroom and with
wreak havoc.
people that are sitting 30 inches away from me. You know what I mean? Yeah, just like yeah, exactly.
Picked
And
the
then-
wrong time for first class. Man.
Yeah. It's horrible to get to like if you ever have a seat right by the toilets,
no,
especially on
dude.
an international like long haul flight.
People are
it's-
eating
it's
dinner and
Bad,
shit.
man. It's like you
disgusting.
just want to throw up the whole time, man.
Yeah, no
So,
good.
Okay, well I'm glad to hear it. You're good. Yeah. It's interesting you guys were talking about that. I don't know if I should be really disturbed about that.
I told him one of my work stories. Then he asked if I ever took a dump during turbulence.
Yeah, because he's like, oh man, it's just so bad. I'm like, dude, could you imagine just taking a dump and all of a sudden it's just turbulent as hell on the plane?
I've
You're
been-
sitting there like,
I've been in the bathroom like peeing when turbulence hits.
Oh,
and
bad.
that's horrible. Just like peeing on the walls and the mirror. You're peeing on the mirror. You know, I've never.
And I was in
peed
my
on the mirror.
house.
yeah, holy crap, I was at home.
No, I've had it seriously where it's like you're literally hanging on with both hands.
Yeah.
And you're not controlling the stream. You know what I mean?
You're just pissing on the
It's just going
walls.
wherever. It's just you're just trying to hang on for dear life, man. You know, it's like, am I going to get out of here alive? Is the
Yeah,
plane
right.
going down?
Oh
Yeah,
man,
it's
so
not,
bad.
It's not good, man. It's not good. I'm telling you.
Sheesh.
Some crazy shit happens in the air, boys and girls.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oddball says, happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday,
Hey, happy
Oddball.
birthday. Have a great evening, guys.
So you
as
are
well.
one day before his sister and my mother.
A lot of people were. 9 months
416.
ago, people were busy, is all we know.
That's what I'm saying. There are like
disgusting.
chunks of.
That's my parents.
Yeah.
Well, they were busy, for sure.
I remember when Noah found out that he was born 9 months after Valentine's Day.
Yeah, mine was after my mom's birthday. 9 months after my mom's birthday.
Yeah, there you
Yep.
go. There you go.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Lisa.
Now I'm in therapy. Perm donor says, "Don't make me come up there and break the podcast again." Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right. He did break the podcast. So we've been doing this podcast in this room for well over a year or something like that. And the only time we've ever had technical issues was when he
was here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
and we literally had to shut the podcast down and start over because it just wasn't working.
Berm keepers, man, they just ruin it all.
ruining
Berm
it.
keepers.
Yeah.
But he's working with. What do you think about do you like the pied berms?
I do like the pied berms.
Yeah, I do
it's
too.
I don't have a lot of big snakes, but
Right.
But a pied berm would probably be one of the other ones that I would consider.
Yeah,
getting.
I want to get one bad. He claims that he said it on the podcast that when he produces, he's going to give me one. Yeah.
Those
It's
possums
now
make
legal.
it.
It's now law bound.
So now if he doesn't, I'm gonna sue him.
Yeah.
It's a contract.
Yeah,
It's like, you
there's
bastard.
proof, man.
There's proof.
Yeah,
You said it.
I actually like the just the straight up pied berms. I think more than some
Oh,
of
I
the
think
other
so.
combos
A whole
that are popping out
100%.
and
I just
stuff.
want straight pie burn. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
What do you think? I thought this was really interesting and wasn't surprised by it. But so the hypopied berm is basically an all white snake with the tinier eyes, just like lesser
like
pieds.
the white. Yeah, white.
So what do you think
weddings.
about pied blood pythons? What do you think that's going to do when you've got like the golden eyes that make the magpie, which is essentially a mostly white snake, and then the matrix, which makes the ivory, which isn't totally white, but
It'll be interesting. That's I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. The fact that there's the comparison between balls and berms.
Yeah.
You wonder if the blood pythons will have that same gene. No one's done it yet.
No, because it's just now people are just starting to get their hands on visual pieds.
Yeah. So how much are visual pieds going for now?
The last I heard, it was like 25 or 30 grand or something like that. So it's still like
Was it the
investment
Barkers
level.
the ones that did it, or because I know they brought in the first pied, but did they breed them or did someone else breed them?
I think somebody else bred them. I don't know the whole lineage of it all, but I do know that if I remember it all correctly, the pied came in, was bred, produced hets, and then that animal died. So all of these visual pieds, from what I understand,
Came from hets.
So I could be wrong, but that's how
It's
I understood
interesting.
it.
I think the Barkers are an interesting thing because I don't even know what they do anymore. They obviously are still working with stuff,
They're
right?
still working with stuff. I mean, I got some short tails from them. Rob and I got some short tails
Okay.
from them just a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
they're still working with stuff.
Yeah, they're interesting.
I'd love to talk to them.
Yeah,
but
they're a
unless
wealth
you
of
are
knowledge,
like
yeah.
there or have the email to get a hold of them. It's like you're not hearing from them
yeah,
all.
They're very secretive and quiet. Nowadays. They never really. It was interesting. They were like kind of, like really kind of like important and part of the community before social media.
Yeah,
and then with
right,
social
right.
media, I don't know that they even do. They have an Instagram or anything? Do they have?
They do, but it like never really gets any
Yeah,
attention.
interesting.
you know?
I didn't even know they had one. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
So
like I
they
don't even
just
think there's a
never-
profile photo on it. It's
Yeah,
just like the blank white thing.
We better
yeah.
get one of these, Dave.
Yeah,
Might as well get one of those Instagrammers.
Yeah.
Isn't the Facebooks?
Yeah.
Isn't there something about Facebooks or something like that?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Facebook.
The Facebook.
the tube views. We
Yeah,
should have
yeah.
do a 2U video.
The YouTubes. The interwebs are an interesting place, but so I agree. I think someone should land them on a podcast. That would be really
I think
dope.
that'd be really
yeah,
awesome.
really dope. I think Dave really more than Tracy. You know, because Tracy never really. She doesn't seem to like to talk about any. She's pretty secretive and quiet. But
enough,
Dave,
yeah.
Dave is a wealth of knowledge, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he sees something else. And,
Yeah, it'd be super interesting to.
and they're
to
from
chat with
not close from your. They're up in Baltimore area. Is where they were originally from.
them.
So not too far from your neck of the woods, the New England area. Not too
Yep.
far from you either.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think Dave might have been from Texas originally, but Tracy was from Baltimore. Yeah, so that's how when I met Tracy, it was Tracy Miller, and she was
that's cool.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
before
Yeah.
before she met Dave, and how she really got the claim to fame actually was she had a gravid Boland's python that laid eggs, and Pete Call incubated the eggs.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
yeah. Now that you say that, I was like, I remember Pete telling me about incubating. some eggs
because
from a
she didn't
Boland's,
have an incubator.
Yeah,
She bought a wild Bolin's, didn't know it was gravid. It laid, I think, 13 eggs.
Wow.
Didn't have an incubator, and she lived right down the street from Pete. So
Pete.
she called Pete up and was like, "Hey, can I bring these eggs over to incubate?" And he incubated them, and I think hatched almost
them.
all of them.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
almost all of
Wow.
them hatched out. And that might have been like the first captive hatch Bolin's ever in the United
Yeah,
States.
yeah.
And that's what made Tracy such a, like, all of a sudden, like, everyone in the industry was talking about Tracy Miller because of those Bolin's pythons.
yeah.
And then shortly
It's insane.
thereafter,
Man, it's
Dave.
so insane, man.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy, right?
So I think about like all the people and like Facebook groups and stuff like that are like, if it's not on Facebook, if it's not on the internet,
Yeah.
it never happened. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
real. And it's like,
There's so
there
much
was
that's
a life
happening.
before the internet,
Well,
right?
I always talk about that. I talk about that all the time. I mean, there was like, Tom Huff was a huge name up at the Toronto Breeding Center. That's I mean, Dick Ross, the reproductive husbandry of boas and pythons. And him and Tom worked together on a bunch of things. You obviously had, like I said, Ernie Wagner was very, very first person to ever breed Burmese pythons in the country was Ernie Wagner. I mean, the list goes on and on of these amazing things that happened way before.
Yeah.
Anyone even thought of the internet, way before Al Gore came around, you know what I mean?
Created the internet.
Yeah,
Thank
so-
God for him.
Yeah, thank God for Al Gore. What is
McQueen says, "Hi
Gene.
Brian, love the vlog. Thank you to you and your crew for being so amazing and inspiring, and I hope to visit soon."
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your support, and I hope you can come visit. We always have a good time.
Nolo asks, "What is a slackline in blood pythons?"
Go ahead, Jeff.
So the slackline gene is really interesting, and I don't know everything about it. I have a couple slackline level 2, so it's this really interesting gene that when I first started seeing it bred, I thought it was like an incomplete dominant because you had slackline level 1, and you bred 2 of those together, and you got the level 2, which was a more striped animal, more contrasted animal.
Yeah, we saw him down in Tennessee.
Yeah. They look awesome.
Yeah.
And then it was, you take those and breed those together. Then you get the next level of that, and that's like the level they call it slackline level 3.
Right.
So it's like a super of a super, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it's
which-
really
yeah, it doesn't make
bizarre.
sense.
It's almost like
Yeah.
polygenic, right? I
Yeah,
guess, right?
but it never goes past level 3,
weird.
which is really interesting. So it's
Maybe they have like a weird type of like allele or something where they can. I don't know. That's
I
very
think
strange.
I don't know.
Is there
super
anything has I know it's a relatively newer thing, but have people bred slackline into other stuff to see if maybe there's some allelic things going on?
I think
because it almost seemed like a yellow belly.
That's what I'm saying,
Type of
yeah.
a thing. you know?
yeah. I think we'll probably start to see some of that stuff coming up in the next year.
Because I wonder
or
if you
so.
did breed a magpie to a slackline,
what those golden eyes would look like and stuff.
What who knows what those could be like.
I'd like to see it with like the batik.
Yeah,
Stuff, where it
'cause you
really
got-
could just crazy pattern and make that kind of
I like
stuff.
batik
so.
stuff. Batik is really good.
So I've got a couple that I have available that I'm
Oh, look at
contemplating
this.
like
Hit Jeremy up.
raising. I'm contemplating like maybe I'll keep this.
Yeah, that's
What's one more tub?
How much they go for now? How much you going to sell me them for? Is what I'm saying.
How much am I going to sell them to you
Yeah,
for?
yeah.
$1 million, dude.
Million?
Yeah,
$1
$1
million?
Quarter of your
Dude,
expansion.
Yeah, quarter of your expansion.
Yeah,
just
man,
make me
that's-
owner 25%.
Okay.
Profit. Yeah, no.
You do know I just bought a giant wheel for my
Yeah, but it was off Amazon, dude. You got
I'm
a
pretty
deal,
much
dude.
broke
Prime.
at this. This
No,
wheel
they-
was like
they
the
were
size
on-
of the London Eye.
Lori said.
No, so the ones that I've got, they're a Het T positive albino too. So they're running around a little over $1,000.
That's
not
not too
bad.
bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's
but they're
not bad.
beautiful animals. I've always
They
liked them a
really
lot,
are,
yeah.
and when they get, blood pythons just get better as they get bigger. So right now they're at that point where the colors are really starting to come in, and they just pop, and that's why I'm like, maybe I'll hold on to this.
it's hard,
So it's hard to make those decisions,
Yeah.
man.
No, I love
and blood pythons, it's so much of it is polygenics.
Yeah.
Just breeding for the reddest animals and stuff
Yep.
like that. So it's like, man, that one's really nice, and I
Hard to
might
get rid
not
of it.
get another nice one for a long time,
yeah.
so it's hard. Same thing with the Borneos and stuff
Yeah.
too. It's like, I'm going to breed these 2 striped animals together, and like, what the hell is that? Why is that?
Yeah.
And it should just be striped. I don't understand. I
the
got to hold it
Borneo-
back
yeah,
now.
The Borneo stuff seems to be really interesting to me because you have all those crazy ghost stuff and all this weird stuff that is like
and none of it breeds true.
Yeah, none of it breeds
You
true.
know, it's like
or
we got
you got to
the-
breed this to this, and you might get that.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you
yeah,
might not
exactly.
get that. Like, what does this mean?
It's so crazy. I mean, like I give props to guys like Matt Minatola.
Oh,
over
yeah,
at
Matt's
Philly
got
Herb.
great
This
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
stuff is insane.
They got
man.
great animals.
Yeah, and like I remember going to Matt's place. This is like right before I started working at Nerd, going to Matt's place and just like, I told him straight up, I'm like, man, I'm so happy I left my credit card at home, dude.
Yeah.
Just be buying all of these things, dude.
Yeah. Every
You know, he's
time I've
got some
walked by
crazy
his
stuff.
table at the shows or something like that, I'm just like blown
blows you
away.
away, man.
Just
That's
like, wow.
I got my first pair of Borneos from him at Tinley. I think it was 2016 or 2015, something like that. And I just kept walking past his table and was like, I've wanted to get into him for a while, but I just never pulled the trigger. And then he's like, well, I'll give you a deal. And I'm like, don't say that.
Those are the big words, dude.
That, and matter of fact, I actually just bred those and got a clutch of 19 eggs from that.
Good for you,
female.
dude.
So yes, I'm super stoked about that.
That's dope. That's good. Now, would you ever work with Bloods or Short Tails? Or?
I was literally talking to him about that a little bit ago. That when I moved down, like that was one of the things I was looking into. So I was going to hit him up.
Now, in New York, can you not have those either?
You can have them. A couple of my friends breed them and keep them and stuff like that. It's just
what's the size limit? Is it like 6 foot in New York?
Yeah,
dude,
boas,
it's species.
Right?
It's all species limits.
Oh, it's species. Okay.
Yeah, so like
pretty much everything that's bigger than a boa, though, right, is on that.
If you are in New York City, you can't keep anything that's part of the python family.
I agree.
The boa family.
Boa day or python a day.
Yeah, anything like that, anything python, anything boa, they will come down on you for.
Do
But if you go to Long Island, you can get them.
Yep.
One time I did a excuse me for saying a Fox News show. Damn
it, Brian!
Canceled.
But it was in New York City, and in Manhattan, and I didn't think about it. But I was driving in a white cargo van, and I get across the bridge, and sure they pull me aside, like, "What are you doing?" Blah blah. And I go, "Oh, I'm going to this Fox News thing, this live thing that I'm doing with Discovery Channel." And they're like, "Okay, what do you got?" I go, "Just some snakes back here that for the show and stuff like that." But I had big Burmese python. I had like a 12-foot Burmese python.
Yeah.
I didn't. Thankfully the cops didn't know. So they just let me through, and I did it. But it wasn't until like after I thought about it, I was like, oh my God, I just brought like 12-foot python into Manhattan. It's like, it's probably not exactly the best thing to do, but they let me through, so I was all right.
Yeah. Dude, I remember, I think one of the last times I was in Manhattan, there was just some guy like right on the Times Square area trying to take the pictures. Just got like a giant albino berm.
I know that guy.
And I'm like,
he's still there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm not shocked.
Right now, I wouldn't doubt.
But I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, I was just worried about getting like arrested or something like that.
No, at most, like the cop would ask to take a picture of it nowadays. Like you think about, you're enforcing laws that you're expecting like just a cop to identify species now.
Yeah, right.
So they'll just hand you a ticket for possession of a wild animal.
Right.
And that's what it falls under.
Okay.
And then it's up to the state then at the state and city level to figure out what to do with you. Most of the times, like I know people that keep chickens and you're not supposed to keep roosters, and they just make them get rid of them. They give you like a strike, like get rid of this.
Yeah, because you're in the fucking city.
Yeah.
You don't need to be waking up at.
Yeah, the car horns are keeping you up all night. You don't need a rooster doing it too.
Give me a break. All right, what we got?
Burp Donor says, "You's heard it here, folks. I'm bringing you one, Brian. How about for a housewarming gift after the expansion?"
All right, good stuff. Listen, man, I'll build a house just for that berm. You don't even think about it.
And then Randy says, "Brian, when are you coming back to Utah?"
Oh my gosh, man!
Uda.
Have you guys been to Utah?
It's my favorite place.
My gosh, it's so beautiful, man.
Just take me when you go.
Oh my, let's
me know.
go.
Actually,
let me know.
Let's go. I'm going.
Let me know.
Go.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it is majestic. It really is. Yeah. I'm not a big winter guy, so I didn't want to really go there this winter. But now that it's starting to get to spring/summer, I'll be back in Utah. Yeah, because it's we went to Moab last time we were there. I want to go to Zion for sure, this time.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, Greg, the pond guy, just messaged me yesterday a picture of
he
him.
lives out there now, right?
Yeah, he lives out there now.
Oh, lucky
And
boy.
so he told us we could come and stay with him anytime. And but he was in Zion, he's like, he said,
check this out, man.
He's like, Utah's waiting for you. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Dude.
It's legitimately like, again, I don't know that I would live in Utah because if I'm going to move, I'm going to move somewhere with mountains that it stays warm. But I will say it's definitely top 3 most beautiful states in the country.
Really?
I agree, 100%.
I mean, it's beautiful out there.
And very diverse, too.
Yeah, very diverse. You've got the green mountains, and you've got the desert mountains. And,
you got Rockies, you got Sierra Nevada, there's multiple ranges of mountains.
Isn't it so crazy? I was talking, so this morning I went to breakfast with Max and Kayla from Military Morphs.
Oh, awesome.
And we were talking about how, just within each state, from one end to the other can
Yeah.
be so incredibly
Yeah.
different.
Yep.
You know, and it's like I hear people like do all the traveling overseas and everything. And it's like, have you ever just traveled
The United
US?
States? Oh, it's
like 'cause
incredible.
It can be
Well,
pretty insane. Man.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I've said that. You know, like I've been to every state except Alaska right now, but I probably haven't seen I've never been. We went on the outskirts of Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, yeah.
Never been to Yosemite. Yosemite and
Yosemite.
Yosemite.
I was like, wait, where's that?
That's foreign.
I mean, there's a lot of places I haven't been, right? You know,
Right,
in the
right.
U.S. that are really beautiful, but yet I've traveled to Africa and Europe
Yeah.
and Asia.
But I
all
mean,
over
the fact that you can
place.
say you've been to 49 of the 50 states, most people can't even say that. You know,
Most people
alone,
haven't been
you know.
out of their town.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, straight up.
Well, we're gonna. How many states do you have left, Jay?
I think I have 9, something like that, 8,
and
9,
I think
something
Noah
like that.
has probably maybe 10, 11, something like that. So our goal is maybe in the next year for sure to try to get to all those states together.
Oh, heck
and then
yeah.
and then all do Alaska at the same time.
Oh, that'd be
That's
so
awesome.
cool.
You know,
Yeah.
that'd be like.
really
And
cool
Alaska's
idea.
like just for a minute, like just step off the plane and
Yeah,
be like, oh, it's
spit.
cold,
I'm
man.
just
Let's go
spitting
back.
I'm just spitting on the land from the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of me was
Stake a
there.
Reptarium flag at the airport and then get the
just-
hell out.
No,
Cold.
in the summertime, I'll go. I'll go in the summertime.
Yeah, when it's 25 degrees.
We actually a few weeks ago had someone come in. A couple came in. Literally,
Oh, yeah, I
flew,
remember that.
flew all the way here just to do a Reptarium tour, then flew back the next day. From
Alaska?
Alaska, yeah,
Oh,
from
man.
Alaska,
Wow.
and they were talking about how we were talking about the day night thing, and how
Yeah,
they were like, like basically now it's like sunrise and sunset all at the same time. You know, like
That's
it's
so
never
terrible.
it's like
midday.
it's like dark, sunrise, sunset.
Dark,
You know,
dark, dark, dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sun never really comes up. Like it
I'm
never
already
comes up.
going back into seasonal depression.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
talking about, just thinking about that.
But at the same time, during the summer, it goes the other way, where it goes to dusk and then back to
Bright,
light.
bright, dusk,
crazy,
dawn,
man.
bright,
Holy
bright.
crap.
So you can literally be like 2 a.m. golfing.
Yes.
If you wanted
That's
to.
freaking nuts.
Yeah,
Man.
could
I
you
would
imagine
never
that?
be
That's
able
so
to.
crazy.
Yeah, see the light part I would love.
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
of
I mean,
course.
like, because even now, like I wake up, like I used to wake up at like 7-ish. Now I'm up at like 6 every morning.
Yeah, because
like,
it's getting
I'm like,
bright.
It's just like I'm just naturally like I'm good, man.
Yeah.
And now I don't go to sleep until later either because it's light.
Right.
I mean, especially like in the summer here when it's like
10:30.
10:30 and it's light still outside.
Yeah.
It's like I could stay up till like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
and not even be tired, and then be up at 6 a.m. and feel full of energy. In the winter, it's like by 9 o'clock, I'm
Yeah,
like,
like,
I gotta
oh,
go.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm nodding out.
yeah, it's like okay, I'll wake up to next spring.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
it's
Jeez.
crazy. But I don't know. So I mean, what? So you do reptile shows, but I know you do the New York shows, but you haven't
I
traveled a
go.
lot. You don't travel a lot.
No, I'll go to the shows. I refuse to do anything with them right now. I don't really travel much. Like most of my stuff that when I do produce animals, like selling Jeremy, I'll help friends out, sell them animals, or even gift them animals just to get them into the hobby and start it up. Or I'll sell them to reptile shops for trade. I need feeders. I don't need 17 leopard geckos.
Right.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's what it is for me. It's the goal is mostly with reptiles is to save up enough money to get a Bolin's.
Okay.
So I'm trying to circle it back around. So I'm using my species to get more species.
Yeah,
Nice,
you're doing
that's awesome.
I started with a penny and now I have a Tesla.
Yes. Yeah. That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's
Also a great video, by the way.
I've thought about doing it with reptiles, but I think people might get kind of iffy about it.
But what if you
I
don't-
was like, hey, I'm starting with the normal ball python and I want to end up with the pied Burmese python or something like that, and I'm going to trade for this. But then I think people might get you're just trading animals, like trading cards. You know what I mean?
It's a
Yeah.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
would
so-
take that the wrong way
Yeah, I
compared to
think
what it is.
Yeah. If it was all in good fun, but at the same time, it would be people would take it more like you did something wrong.
which is unfortunate
Dude, seriously,
because it's such a great video idea, dude. It'd be so sick.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
would be, especially if it's with other reptile people. It might be doable because it wouldn't seem so neglectful, quote unquote.
I think the people might just be like, well, because they look at their ball python as a family member, as a pet, and they're like, you're just trading all these animals. It's like, yeah, but there's a difference. It's just a difference in type
But
of animal.
I got to think it out a little bit further. There's got to be a way to do it where you
It's
can do
kosher.
it and not make people feel like you're looking at animals as like a trading card. Somehow you got to be able to I don't know.
There's got to be a way though. I agree.
But I like those pennies to Teslas.
I watch them all, dude.
They're all good.
they're cool.
You know,
I like a lot of people do them on TikTok now. They make it shorter where it'll just be like penny for the next thing. And then like eventually they have a guitar and they're just trading the guitar for a longboard or something like that. So it's just one piece at a time. And they split the video into like 100 pieces.
That was always my way of like getting everything as a kid because like I never had money for myself. So it would always be like, well, what do I have that I can trade in? So for me, it would be like, well, I have a video game that I don't play anymore. So I'm going to trade this to somebody else and then just keep trading around until I was 13 and I finally had enough for a guitar.
That's awesome, dude. Hell yeah.
I mean, dude, it's also like how the industry started.
Yeah.
Right.
Before there was money involved in this.
Yeah,
before we just, you can make a money off of that? You can make a money?
Yeah. No,
Make money. I like it.
No, I remember going to like Herp Society meetings here in Michigan where it's like, you would take your corn snakes that you produce and you'd just be like, I'll trade you this corn for that Solomon Island boa. And
awesome.
I trade that for a gopher snake. And you know, that's how you didn't.
how you got this stuff,
you never
man.
really got, no one had any money, but we still do that in a different way. I remember Brian Potter, one of my favorite sayings that Brian said is that, there's $3 million.
Oh, yes.
There's $3 million spent at Tinley, but only $10,000 walks through the door. So it's like it just goes like from one person to the next person, to the next person, to the next person. Whoever's got the 10,000 at the end is the winner.
Yeah, it's the winner. Yeah.
The other guys,
They had the willpower. Yeah.
It's kind of like I always say when people are like, "Yeah, man, I made like 40 grand at Tinley." And I'm like, what did you leave with? It's like
$35.
Yeah,
parking tickets.
Yeah, I have
Parking tickets.
Yeah, I have enough money to get home.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's how I did Tinley. No matter how much money I made at the end of the day, I was like, the last like hour of Tinley.
Oh, you're blowing everything you made.
Chaotic, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because not only, but after a while, right? After a while, when you do that, like, because I did Tinley for for 20 years, I did Tinley. So, after so many years, everybody knows you're spending money at the end. Yep. So they start coming to your table. You're no longer going to people's tables.
Bob Python's here.
Hey, man, I got this, I got all these things. Would you like to buy all these? And you're like, okay, yeah, what could we do? Yeah. And then you literally would have a line. I'd have like 5 people waiting in line to get to
like
me.
Stacks of cups.
Yeah, just with cups, just like, and it'd be like, by the time I'm done, I'm like, okay, I've got no money left. I just completely blew every dollar I made on the show for all these snakes.
That's awesome.
And then Lori,
it's just Lori's in the background, just tapping her foot, just like son of a.
Like we
smoking.
We sold 50 snakes and take 85 home.
Yeah. It's more work.
This worked out awesome, Brian. Way to go.
So glad we did this show.
Yeah, no, that's how it happened every single show for me. I was like, I never made money at the
dude.
I was always spending it all, man.
It's so easy.
Fat Turbos on Lightning's real name says, have you ever seen Croc Hunter Collision Course?
Strangely enough, I've never seen it. Man.
Really?
Isn't that weird?
Man, that is crazy.
And I'm a huge Croc Hunter guy, man.
Yeah.
I love Steve Irwin, but I never saw it.
I think I probably still have that DVD at my parents' house, man. Yeah.
So was it good? Or was it? I heard
from
it
what
was
I
really
remember,
cheesy.
it was kind of cheesy. But but it's like Steve Irwin. When it came out, like I was a kid. So you're like, oh my god, that's cool. Steve Irwin's on the TV.
I think the movie itself kind of was a bust. Like I don't think it was like a box office hit. Like I think they thought it was going to be a box office hit because Jim Nessie. One with Bubba, he actually traveled to the red carpet for that with Bubba.
Oh, that's funny.
He said literally they had a private jet pick him and Bubba up in Chicago.
So crazy.
Literally, Bubba's in the middle of the aisle of a player plane, and they flew to L.A. for the premiere of Collision Course. And so he sat on the red carpet with Steve Irwin and Bindi and whatever her name is.
Whatever the heck.
His wife. Terry Irwin, thank you.
Terry, whatever the fuck.
Whatever her name is. You know what I'm saying.
Come on now.
Damn Terry.
Damn.
Terry. I call her Terry.
Terry.
Yeah, so but I heard it didn't do very well in the box office. Yeah. It's kind of like, Emeril Lagasse?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Bam,
remember when he was like the shit on Food Network? And then he did like the like daytime almost like Oprah show.
Yeah.
And he was fucking horrible.
Didn't do it. Yeah,
it was like, he was like you could just see him reading off the cards
weird.
like And next guest we have, it's like
The
it just
prompter
didn't,
freezes.
yeah, it just didn't work. You know, what I mean?
It's
It was
weird
like,
that
you know,
like different media it doesn't translate to others. Like how YouTubers sometimes will try to make regular TV shows. It doesn't usually work out.
Some doesn't.
It's
but
weird.
then you have some that look at Lisa Koshy. You know, she's translated great.
Right.
To she did the freaking red carpet with or not the red carpet, but she did New Year's Eve with freaking
that's
Ryan
right.
Seacrest.
Yeah.
You know, and this is a chick that I was freaking hanging out with. She's smoking weed in L.A. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I was like
Blowing up the spot.
I'm just like, what is going on here,
That
man?
is cool.
I remember, she lived in this little apartment, you know, and I remember putting a giant snake in her car, you know, like to scare her
She's
for a
showing with
prank.
Sequest.
And now she's
Sequest
with
out.
Sequest. She's on freaking, whatever. It's
Yeah,
the
it's crazy.
Dick Clark show, whatever it is. But it's just wild. But so some people do well. We were just talking about that today. You know, we were talking about how like, and I know the podcast is all over the place, but that's the way I like
That's what
it.
we do.
That's
Yeah,
what we do. Yeah, absolutely.
How like I really love movies. I've talked about, right? But like a B movie, it's shockingly different how good actors really are in good movies compared to bad movies. You know what I mean? Like you think like you watch a movie and you don't realize how damn professional and how good they are, because when you see a B movie, they suck.
Bad. Very terrible. Anyone that's making a B movie
yeah.
out there that thinks they've made a great movie, you didn't.
You did.
Yeah.
You didn't do
You
it.
didn't. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, we just watched a movie a couple nights ago that was I remember her name. I can't remember the name of the movie, but basically her son is like in school and there's like a hostage situation, a shooting situation, and she's like jogging, when she gets the like Amber Alert, and then she finds out that her son is stuck, and it's this thing, and the entire movie, literally, like out of the hour and 50 minutes of the movie, an hour and 40 minutes is her on the phone. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
But she's a great actress.
Right,
It's
right.
kind of like Castaway, right, with Tom Hanks, right?
Okay.
It's like the entire movie. It's like, and I'm like, this movie literally cost them nothing to make. All they needed was a camera in some woods, and she's like jogging in the woods trying to get back to her son that is in the school, and he's in this hostage situation. And I mean, literally 90% of the film is, but she's
Or like
great.
127 hours,
Yeah,
where it's
look,
like in
oh
a
my
crevasse in Moab.
And
Like
he was, and that's a perfect example of
Great
a
movie.
great
Great
actor,
acting.
right? He can do this like completely BS comedy role, and then he can do this amazing dramatic role at 127, and it's like
It's night and day.
yeah, it's night and day. You don't even realize it's the same guy. Almost.
I'm so glad I watched that on the way home from Moab and not on the way to Moab. It's a heavy movie when he does that to his arm. Oh,
Yeah, and
Rough.
that's a true story too.
Yes,
It is, yeah. So that someone actually did that.
Have you ever seen Troll 2? Speaking of B movies.
I have
No,
not seen
I haven't-
Troll 2. Is
Oh
it
my
good?
god. I used to have Troll 2 viewing parties at my house because it's so bad it's good. There's no trolls in the movie. They're goblins.
Oh, okay.
There's no Troll 1. It went straight
so
to
it's
Troll
a
2.
Oh, that's when you know.
that's how
it's a
you know
good
it's
one.
real good. Yeah.
The sequel. The
was a
sequel.
sequel.
Yeah, the sequel to nothing.
It's
It was
Star
an
Wars.
yeah.
It's just going backwards.
Yeah.
It was an Italian director, and he was just like, trust me, I know what Americans like.
Yeah, it's Troll 2.
And he was right.
And apparently he was right.
And one of the people they got to act was just some guy who's apparently they made a whole documentary about the movie because it was just that
Oh my
bad.
gosh, that bad. The worst
Jesus.
movie in the
ever
world.
made. It's literally called the worst movie ever made. Troll 2, the
Actually,
documentary.
it's interesting because you know what? There was a movie that is considered the worst movie ever. Do you know which movie I'm talking about? Punch It Up.
It wasn't Sherlock Holmes, right?
No. No. That you mean Holmes and Watson?
Is that the one with
with Will Smith.
yeah,
Will
Will Ferrell. Yeah, Will
no,
Smith.
but there's what it is.
a Plan 9 from Outer Space?
No, that's not the one.
It
I
says
was
it's
thinking.
worst film ever from the Golden Turkey Awards. That's crazy.
Let-
Anyway,
let's-
Golden turkey lipstick.
Let's
What?
go to the list of the. Go to the
you
list.
want to do
of-
40 worst movies of all time? IMDb?
Yeah, that's it. Because there's one
Monster
movie
at
that
Go-Go is the top one.
I know that there was one that was like
Birdemic.
Oh man, that's a dang. I've never even heard of these ones.
Batman and
Batman.
Robin.
Robin.
Here's Troll 2.
Troll 2 made it. Yep.
Yeah,
It's
top five,
top
baby.
5, yeah. In Search of the Titanic.
Killers from Space. I've heard
Okay.
that one's really bad too.
Creeping Terror.
Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus.
No, I bet you that one's a
Jesus.
good one. I guarantee that one's good. Zap.
Zat.
Oh, that sounds really good. Beast of Yucca,
Yucca
Flats. Food Fight, Teen Wolf. Really, Teen Wolf?
I liked it.
It wasn't bad.
Damn, people are mean, huh?
Bad people. Yeah, it's interesting. The movie that I
Let's
think
check out
is
the other one from Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe it's on there.
yeah. The movie I was thinking of was like I can't remember. But it was like popular actors were in it. You know what I mean? It was considered like the worst.
I remember
movie of all
looking that
time.
up, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Some laggy.
It doesn't matter anyways. We're a snake podcast talking about the movies.
Talking about B movies.
Burton's. Yeah.
What else are you having playing in the background while you're cleaning snakes, man?
Yeah, right.
Facts.
Yeah. It's but I don't know. Troll 2. I'll check it out.
Dude, you're gonna love it because it's so bad.
So you know the worst movie I've ever seen is Orgy of the Dead. Orgy of Punch that.
Man, that's my
sucker up.
favorite.
Punch that sucker up.
Sounds pretty cool.
Orgy of the Dead. You guys don't even understand how this is like.
This is a hard one.
So
to type
I got
in,
a story
you know?
about this one. Yeah,
Spell everything correctly.
Yeah,
It's
Just be safe on the internet.
yeah.
It's a good one.
You might end up at a necromancer website or something, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got its own Wikipedia page. Man.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. So wow, 1965. Is it 85?
It's an erotic horror film.
It is it is very erotic and it's very horror.
Good. That's fun.
Yeah. So listen, this is what a horrible person I am.
Oh boy.
You know,
All right.
Ready to
Let's
clip
tell
this,
this
guys.
Yeah, come on, Donnie.
Donnie, this is for you.
This is for you, baby.
Starting it right now, baby. No, so we like I loved horror. This is Blockbuster days, right? Blockbuster days. So I always used to rent movies from Blockbusters, and we rented Orgy of the Dead, and it was like really, I mean like bad. I mean like it's like bad. It is erotic, but it's bad. And so I had my friends Scott and April. Which are like he was my guitar player for my band. We were good friends, and so I go,
Sponge? Is it from Sponge?
no, not from Sponge. This is pre-Sponge. It was from a band called Cemetery, and so anyways, I go, bro, rented this fucking movie, incredible, best movie I've seen, man. So and we're all broke, you know what I mean? We're all broke. So he literally like takes all his bottles back, gets enough money to rent the movie. And literally, like, him and his, like, I watched the first 10 minutes and I was like, oh, I'm done, right? You know, that's how bad it is. And so they proceed to watch the entire 90 minutes of the movie.
Oh, man.
Because they're like, he said this was the best movie. It's got to get good. Like, it's got to be good eventually. And so the next day I see him, he's fucking furious with
pissed,
me.
I'm sure,
I mean, furious with me. He's like, I spent every dime I had to rent this movie.
Yeah.
It was so
Dude,
bad.
that's so
unwatchable. Unwatchable. 10 minutes I was done. And that was with boobs. I mean, I like boobs. Man.
Everyone likes movies.
I was still done, man. I was like, okay, this is it, man.
I don't know.
Yeah, so we did that to my buddy. That's so. There's a few things I'm going to rot in hell for. Video tomorrow.
Yeah, the thumbnail for tomorrow
thumbnail for
is definitely up
tomorrow's
there.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna be like, we need to talk, Brian. Sit down real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about that
hell is
Orgy of the Dead?
Yeah, that Orgy of the Dead incident with April.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah, April died a few years ago. She came in and told me the story.
Yeah, she told me all
She said it was
about
the worst
Like,
moment of her
make
life.
sure he doesn't get through these gates.
Yeah.
He's gonna make us all watch that stupid erotic film again.
Yeah.
I like that you doubled down. It was erotic, but terrible.
It was erotic.
Sheesh.
I got through 10 minutes. That was all I got through.
That's all I got usually.
I'm pretty sure it was pretty much the next 70 minutes was the same as the first 10.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was. I don't even recall the plot line. I don't think there was a plot line. I think it was just like in a cemetery that like zombies were coming out and fucking
Everyone's
each other.
just everyone's just yeah. That's a good line though.
It's just give me the cliff notes. That's it.
That's all you
Pretty much,
need.
that's probably on the Wikipedia page.
That's probably how they pitched it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, listen, I got a great
But
idea for a
the
movie.
zombies, they don't go after people. They just start sucking, sucking and fucking. That's it. Honestly, sounds great.
Oh god.
That's a movie, yeah. What are the chat people even saying?
dude,
I know
it's
more
just-
There's no
super, but-
supers. There's
Honestly, I mean, they're talking about the hot topic of the day. To be honest with you.
Oh, it's about
yeah.
nerd video, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
not shocked.
That's all it is.
Not
Yeah,
shocked.
it's definitely created a little bit of a buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say this when it comes to can people like message Rob about nerd stuff from time to
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
I'm saying it on this podcast because I know then somebody will do it. Because everybody messages me for my opinion, and I'm like, I call Rob because I get frustrated and all like, why do people keep asking me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Rob, do you get anybody that's messaging you? He's like, no, dude, I haven't heard anything about it. So can y'all like go message Rob, for once?
Rob Christian.
Yeah, Rob is creeping it real.
Yeah, Rob is
and he's
keeping it real.
He's creepy for
Real.
sure.
Yeah. Everyone hit him up, and I hear he likes feet too. So send him
loves
feet.
feet.
Yeah, get him with the foot pick first, and then bam, hit him
You're
with the
in
question.
there. Yeah.
As soon as he's like engaged, like, ooh, I like this a bit. Except,
Yeah, as soon as you see that like, yeah.
and then it's like, oh, well, how about Kevin?
What's going on with Kevin Dunn?
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna be so mad. I just
So
did
what's
that.
the chat gang saying? I mean,
Dude,
got opinions or?
I mean, yeah. So it's like, let's see, it's just a lot of stuff of like, Kevin's into animals, not social media. Donnie needs to film and not do that shit. That's pretty much it. But listen, each their own. And listen, Donnie's done a lot of hard work to make that channel even pop in general.
Yeah, I mean, it would be insignificant if it wasn't for Donnie.
So it's a hard one. I agree with like I probably wouldn't be creating drama. We've said the same thing too. That
I mean we talked about that last week.
Yeah, but that's up to the people.
And I talked to Kevin today about it.
Yeah, we talked with Kevin today. Yeah.
I mean the same thing. Same thing. I always tell people. I tell people to
positivity wins the long game.
I don't talk around behind someone's back. I tell them to their face what I feel, and Kevin's amazing, and I think that he needs to just have his platform needs to more focus on what makes him amazing,
right?
You know what I mean?
And not this low hanging fruit of dumb drama in the community.
Yeah, and it's very tempting to do that, because
drama.
Look at everyone in the chat room is talking about it. If Kevin put out a video about how to work with melanota, people aren't talking about it in the chat right now, So it's very tempting, and we've been tempted by it as well, to put out videos that are gonna create buzz. But at the same time, you gotta we've kind of matured to the point where we understand that sometimes that buzz isn't good buzz, and although there's that, I don't know that I believe in the whole. Any publicity is a bad. I don't know that I believe that because I've been on the side of bad publicity, and I didn't enjoy it at all, and I don't think it helped me whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like I think the bad publicity that I've had in the past,
especially in this world, for sure.
In the cancer culture that we have now, it's even worse. And so. I mean, it just it is what it is, and I hope that I think that Kevin, like I've said, has a tremendous amount to offer this hobby.
Of course,
his passion, not only his passion for the animals, but also his passion for the hobby itself and the protection of the hobby. And this is what people have to understand: is that anything that Kevin does or puts out, he only thinks he's doing it for the right reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like whether it's Donnie or Kevin, it's collaborations, whatever the case is. Kevin would never purposely do something that would hurt the hobby because all he wants is what's best for the hobby. That's like his only goal is to get people to want to be able to keep reptiles for the rest of his life. Yeah. And I think that we're all freaked out by what's going on right now. Speaking of which, we can get into a little bit what's happening in Florida. It's like we're talking about now. Kevin seems has a lot more knowledge than I do about these types of things, and I was at least a little bit happy to hear that he thought it would take years to get to the point where they want to go with the FWC. I hope he's right that it takes years. But I do think that, unfortunately, much like Kevin said, I don't know that there's a path to winning that battle.
It's definitely frustrating to witness everything that's happening. And, Florida's like a hub.
Yeah,
it's everything that we do. It really is.
Florida falls, the hobby falls.
Yeah, exactly.
At least to some extent.
Yeah, and I mean, like we've watched it with their tegu ban as it slowly started to creep up the East Coast. South Carolina passed theirs, North Carolina just went through with theirs, and Georgia's inevitably going to be following suit.
Sure.
When I was just down there earlier this week, and all over the news, it's talking about the invasive black and white tegu, and I'm like, oh great, here we go. And. I mean, it's scary. So, anything that happens there, we start to see it. I mean, when I was testifying at the hearings in Maine, they're directly citing what's going on in Florida, things in Florida. And I'm like, you're like totally separate, over 1,000 miles away. Like, what do you don't have, you can't really reference things when it comes to like invasive potential of like a Burmese python. Yeah. It's called winter, Maine. Yeah. Like, what are we doing, But
I remember one time, and I've said this story before, and I know Jay has heard this. One time I did an interview with New York Times, and it was when the Lasiak just started with the Burmese pythons, and they hadn't passed yet, and New York Times reached out to me and said, hey, we'd like to interview about this Lasiak. And I remember them saying, like, well, aren't you concerned about Burmese pythons? Like this projection is that they could be in the Ohio Valley at some point. And I said, listen, that projection says that the coolest temperature that Ohio is going to get in the middle of winter is 80 degrees. That's crazy. And I said, and if it's 80 degrees in the middle of winter at its low, we have a lot more concerns to worry about than Burmese pythons. Yeah. And even the reporter said, I had never thought about that. But
you're right. You're like, if Florida's gone,
you're
underwater.
There is no Florida.
Yeah, you're cherry picking the bad part.
Yeah,
exactly.
Listen, tens of millions of people will be displaced because of water. Not because of Burmese pythons.
What about agriculture? I mean, literally, you're going to burn away half the areas that have crop that feed everybody in the country.
So that's what I think is interesting. Now, I will say that I think that I have a little bit of a differing opinion on. I don't know this for sure, but some of the intimations that I think that Kevin said today when we were talking to each other, I don't agree with the thinking, and maybe I'd like to know both your guys' opinion on this. I don't believe that legislation is passed on YouTube videos. I just don't believe that. I think that if Will Nace or Chandler or Tyler are free handling cobras, I don't think that's what causes legislation. I'd love to hear your take because I just don't believe it. But I would love to hear if you think differently.
Yeah, I mean, I think it becomes ammo when it comes to. I don't think it's the initiating point.
So let me ask you: have you ever been to a hearing or heard of a hearing where that ammo has been used?
I've not personally, but I have a couple friends who have been like, I got the chance to talk to a staffer at an office, and they've like looked up, I forgot what the context was, but one of the videos that came up was somebody holding, just free handling a big king cobra, and they're like, well, that might be the problem.
Right.
So I think it becomes the potential,
right?
Where it's like, when we're looking at somebody doing something really silly or just dangerous with a venomous reptile, it becomes one of those things where it's like, well, you could die,
right?
And you're willing to do it. And I know, like, I remember hearing you make the analogy of like, Tony Hawk
or
going skateboarding, or like, of course there's risk in anything crazy like that, sure. But where I'm at is like, for me, I always say like this industry is still very much taboo.
Yeah.
So whatever we post, gets put under a microscope that if you only are surrounded by reptile people,
right,
you don't understand the full view of how people outside of that industry see us.
Right.
So,
I don't disagree with that. I guess what I'm saying is that
I know what you mean.
To me, it doesn't seem like the Tony Hawk thing is the example that does work. It's like, I don't know that. Yeah, listen, if Chandler or Will or Tyler get bitten, it's going to look bad on the hobby,
right?
Obviously, and Chandler or Tyler's been bitten by a king, but I don't know that. It could be part of the argument,
right?
But I don't know that it's like. I think what I'm saying is that the reptile hobby, I think, thinks more of the weight is put on videos. When you do a video that has maybe some sketch, like let's say when you dress a guy up in an Easter bunny and feed rabbits on. Yep. Just as an example. Let's hypothetically, if someone did that, I think some people will think like, oh my God, look at what a bad image this is for the hobby.
Right.
Whereas most people would probably be like, that's funny, what I mean? That's there's nothing, no harm, no foul.
And is some legislator really going to care about that video at all?
Right.
I think the free handling has a little bit more merit to it, because that is a very dangerous act.
And one thing I'll say too is as time goes on, it will become more a part of the conversation. As kids that are my age become in legislation, they're more video savvy. They're going to talk about videos.
Well, that's
more.
what I'm saying. Like when you get into the in particular the federal side of the Senate and House, most of those people don't watch
like
YouTube
the
at all.
Facebooks?
You know what I mean? Like maybe their staffers are trying to bring something, but they probably don't don't even understand what's going on.
Nor do they care
Right.
about how many views you get or anything.
exactly.
100%. Yeah. Like I know one of the things that I was saying before, and Kevin and I had talked about was, like dealing with the Lacey Act amendments and stuff on this. Every email that's been getting sent out, and when I talked with Philly, it's like, it's like every 2 days there's like 10,000 emails that have been getting sent out, which is great.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. But now we've got to look on the back end of that and realize that, okay, well, now all of a sudden these people are getting thousands of emails, hundreds or thousands of emails about reptiles.
Yeah.
Like, well, what are people talking about? They care so much about snakes. Like, what's going on? So if they do any element of research or just like, well, I want to understand this, like, why is there such a push on this, then it's like, okay, well, we didn't necessarily pay attention on the back end of like looking how we're publicizing ourselves.
Right.
So that's where I agree, where I don't think it's the initiation of ammunition, but it becomes a part of the discussion later. So it's just more about just being aware of what we're putting out and if it could be taken in a negative connotation, knowing that we are such a fringe industry.
Yeah, I guess so it is, and you have to go, huh?
Yeah, I have to go. But I will say really quick on the subject before I do leave, one thing that I notice is genuinely going to kill the hobby is the fact that you can't do anything without someone either correcting you or throwing you under the bus.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think that happens more than anything, right? Is that someone from the reptile hobby puts the light on something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something, maybe a video that has 500 views, all of a sudden gets 50,000 views because someone bigger puts a highlight on that video that had 500 views.
Yeah,
that makes us look real bad. And I think that's the problem. I think we are our worst enemy way more than anything. If granted, I mean, obviously the biggest names on social platforms are going to have exposure from and because like you said, if you search snakes, let's face it, what's coming up, right? You've got 10 people that are coming up with all the snake content if you punch it in on YouTube or something like that, and then you have to really dig deep to find something else,
right?
So those 10 people maybe need to be held to a higher standard, and we try to hold ourselves to a higher standard than we used to. We think about it all the time, our image and what we're trying to put out and stuff like that, but it is hard because I know guys like Chandler and stuff are, they're searching for views too, and they realize it. Listen, I'm glad I'm not Tyler or Chandler because they're putting their life at risk every day.
Right.
And Anthony, thanks, brother, for coming, dude. I appreciate
Thank you so much, man.
Safe travels home, man, and tell the wifey I said the same, and enjoy your Easter and go give your kid a big hug tonight, all right?
That's definitely happening.
And we'll see you soon, brother. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you for all the hospitality again, man.
Anytime. You're always welcome, man. Reach out to me anytime with anything you need, brother.
Will do. And Jeremy?
I was like, yeah.
We'll see you later, bro, man. It's good to see you, brother. All right, be good, man. I'll talk to you soon, all right, man? Thanks, guys. All right, we'll see you guys. But yeah, so, I think, but that's, I think that it's just like, Anthony was saying, we are our worst enemy too much. It's like, we're going after each other. That's why I don't talk bad about people, especially publicly. And I try not to privately much either, but I am human. It's because I don't feel that that's the right,
it's not solving anything.
No, the thing is for me is that, an enemy that I look at is someone that's trying to put me out of business. The HSUS, PETA, Defenders.org, FWC now with Florida. Those are enemies to me. I'd like to expose those industries as something.
What
if
they're
I'm going to
doing.
go after something like that, I'm not going to go after someone that
a colleague.
A colleague that probably has similar ideology as me. Maybe our ideology is slightly different, but like I said, I mean, gosh, I couldn't imagine having to produce content that evolve venomous snakes every day.
Well, and also you're starting at like the most crazy, right? It's and so like to top it,
you're not building
you have to go crazier.
Well, and that's the problem, right? I mean, it's almost like the Mr. Beast thing, right?
Exactly.
Like he has to do more every time. When he gave $100,000 away, now he's got to give $200,000 away. Now
he spent $4 million on a video. Let's spend $10 million on it.
You got to keep upping it. So when you're handling a black mamba,
there's not much to go.
Like, what else are you going to do?
Blindfold handle it?
Two black mambas. Mambas.
Two black mambas.
with a blindfold, my hands tied behind my back.
Yeah, and juggling chainsaws.
Speaking of which, before we get any further, I did want to say Dingo Dingleman.
Dingle Dinkle Digger.
Dingle Dinkleman.
Dinkle Dangy.
Dingo Dinkleman.
Dingle Dingleman.
We'll be in the house next Saturday night.
Woo!
You'll be sitting in Jeremy's chair over here.
man.
Farting.
And give me a Jay, give me a Brian Barczyk from Dingo.
Brian Barczyk. It's a hard one, dude. It's good though.
That's pretty good though.
That is pretty good. I just squinted a little bit when I
You
did
legend.
it. Yeah. When he said, "I'm going to give you a challenge," it was something, dude. It was good.
Dude,
He's got a great voice. You know?
He does. He definitely does.
I mean, I love that dude so much, and I'm going to like not even talk. I'm just going to let him talk. I'm just gonna let him
It's
talk.
funny because I've seen you do that a couple times. We filmed a couple videos with certain people that maybe you look up to a lot, and you do let them take a little bit of control.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's cool.
Yeah, no, and he will be. Dude. I was thinking about doing I don't know if we can do this. I was thinking about doing a piece of a video, just like a 30-second piece, where we script out what he says, and then I lip sync it.
Oh God, yeah, that's
You
a
know
good
what I mean?
idea.
So it's like his voice, but my. like I'm Brian Barczyk.
I've been really trying to
do
like
that.
dig deep and find my inner animal educator voice. How's this one?
Yes.
This is a ball python.
The
black mamba.
Black mamba.
Yeah.
No, so I was thinking about. I've been thinking of all kinds of creative things we can do when Dingo's here because I want to highlight him as much as I possibly can because it's going to be such an amazing experience to have him here. So next Saturday night, make sure you guys tune in to Dingo Dingleman.
Dang old Dingo Dinkleman.
Dangle Dingleman.
Yeah, Dangle Dingles.
But he is a legend, man. He's a legend.
I'm gonna message one of you and be like, how many iterations of his name have you come up with?
Oh, there's 40 by the end of this podcast for sure.
Gonna make him wear the
Amazing.
freaking rabbit helmet. Too.
Oh my God! Yes.
The whole podcast. The whole podcast. He's just gonna, I'm Dango.
And I'm here at the Reptarium.
With the Reptarium.
In these dango bunny mask. I love it, dude.
Oh man, I love it. No, it's
gosh.
gonna be a good one though. But and it's good to see him back. You know, I mean, it's good to see that his
absolutely.
channel is coming back. You know, and
Yeah.
may not have the subscribers that he had, but his views are pretty good. And,
Which is all that matters right now.
Yeah, and it's I think I've said this. I think there's a chance that he might benefit from this. What I mean by that is that he might get more growth because he had a channel that took a while to get going and then kind of blew up. Sometimes starting from scratch, if you start to blow up, it can actually explode.
It's almost like
better.
YouTube puts more emphasis on you because
Yeah,
like,
it's
hey,
like-
you're new and you're killing it.
Yeah, you're new and you're
That's
killing it.
true,
Let's
yeah.
serve it to more people, you know? So, I mean, when he had 400,000 subscribers and he was getting 20,000 views, that's 5% of his subscribers.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, he's got 29,000 and he's getting 60,000 views.
Yep.
Oh,
Some
yeah,
people,
so it looks
you know,
freaking
YouTube's like,
awesome.
oh my God, he's getting twice the amount of
People
you know,
must love this
views.
content.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
better serve this up to more
That's
people.
true, yeah.
You know, so I could see him maybe, you know, hitting 1 million.
Plus all the, a
Subscribers
lot
for
of
this,
people
you know?
talking about it, all of
Right.
us all talking about it. I'm sure it drives enough people. Like, who's Dingo, Dangle,
But I didn't talk
Dangle,
about it until 3
Dangles?
minutes into the video, though.
Yeah.
How many minutes have we been on? We've been on almost 2 hours.
Yeah. And we just started talking about that.
Donnie.
You're fucked. This podcast is the end of you, dude.
Fuck, Donnie. Just leave me alone, Donnie. I swear to gosh.
Oh,
Mister,
my
Mister.
gosh.
I love you, Donnie.
Not the Happy
Come on, Donnie. Mister.
Mr. Donnie, please leave me alone.
Please.
Nah, we love you, Donnie, man.
Yeah, and honestly, listen, it is what it is, dude. People make mistakes, stuff happens, and it sucks to see anybody going through anything. So
I don't want to see any. And the thing is, I mean,
I
you
love
know,
all of
you know,
them.
I have such a respect for everyone in the hobby that I don't want to see anyone being adversarial. You know, I mean, you know,
No, I'd rather put
obviously,
this energy towards the people, like you said, that are taking away our rights, not the people that are all fighting for the same exact thing. Dude.
Yeah, and that's why we've been trying to, you know, like, I mean, every bridge that I can, you know, I mean, hey, listen, there's some people I don't give a fuck about.
But not many.
You know what I mean?
Not many,
But
though.
not many. Those are
Right.
just like vitriolic jackasses that, you know, are. Listen, if you the only thing that you have to offer the hobby is to complain about everyone, then
just
I don't
get out-
then I don't
get
even
out.
need, I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
But if you're like Clint's Reptiles was a perfect example. You know, again, you know, I heard through, whatever. We won't go back
couple
on that
grapevines.
thing. Yeah, some good grapevines that he didn't, whatever. Then all of a sudden we were able to reach out to one another, completely mend that, and
Bury
we're
that
great.
hatchet, yeah.
And I hope he can come visit me sometime. We're looking forward to having him at Animal Con. And I've always respected his stuff, and now we're good together again. So I try to do that all the time. With if someone's like, hey, they might have. I'd like, hey, listen. Number one, I'm always willing to own up to my past. Like, hey,
for sure, dude.
Man, some of the stuff I've done in the past was not a good look for the hobby. You know what I mean? But at the time, it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? You were in an early snake bites video. You know, I mean, that back then people loved the shit we did.
100%.
Like no one was bitching about the shit we did. But then years later, and I always say it's very analogous to the comics that made racial jokes 10 years ago that are now getting canceled for those racial jokes. That were completely not. Maybe it wasn't. You shouldn't have done it. I'm not saying it was.
But
right
it was
or wrong,
commonplace.
But
at
it was
that
it was
time.
acceptable at the time to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening. I mean, we saw today. We're in there doing some edits. My gosh, there was a video that 14 years ago I put out. Think about that. 14 years ago.
Yeah, that's half my life.
I mean, 14 years I've gotten
insane.
content. So 14 years ago, YouTube was a very different place.
And that's what I was going to say when we were talking
course.
about the content that gets put out being used against you or whatever. It's like, man, you remember when people just out of nowhere started giving you crap for there being a poo in a cage?
Yeah.
Like it never used to be a thing before. It's like, the animal poops. We all know it poops. And now all of a sudden it's like, it's dirty.
Well, I always
like
the one I liked the best was like that I would like film cleaning a dirty cage.
It's the best, dude.
And then people would be like, look at how filthy that cage was. I'm like, wait a second.
cleaning
Like,
but I'm cleaning it. That's my job.
Yeah, well, I don't clean a clean cage. I only clean a dirty cage. You know? So we had to literally stop cleaning dirty cages because, and it was funny because I can't remember who was here. Like this was like years ago when I was taking some abuse online about like that type of stuff. And it was funny because they were here and they cleaned a retic with me, right? They were like, let me help you clean the retics. We cleaned this whole bank of retics. And then like 3 hours later, a retic destroyed its cage. And it was just like destroyed, right? And I go, see, now you see. 3 hours ago it was clean. Now it's dirty. And if you filmed it being dirty, people are like, look at how filthy that cage is. Yeah, it's filthy, but it was clean 3 hours ago.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
But
exactly.
but I think what that really came down to is that people were just looking for anything.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Of course.
They were just looking for anything to complain about for me, and that happens, you know. And so we went through the one cancel culture once, obviously 5-6 years ago. We've survived it. You know, I'm hoping that now that we've gotten into this new, and I liken it maybe a little bit to like Logan Paul, right?
Right.
Like, and not that we're Logan Paul by any stretch, but you know, Logan was like killing the game. Suicide Force came, cancel culture, the worst guy on the planet. Still, people don't like Logan, just like people don't like me. But most people have said like, "Wow, Logan's really matured, and he seems like a really good guy now."
He's grown
and I'm
past
hoping that that's how people look at me. You know,
and
like,
I think that is
you know,
too.
like Brian is. Look at he's with the Reptarium and the things he's doing, education, you know, all this other stuff.
Very
I'm
respectable.
Hoping that, I'm hoping that's the way people look at, because that's the way I try to look at myself these days. It's like, hey, I made mistakes. It didn't feel like they were mistakes when I was making them, because people were, you know, the same people that hated everything I did were praising me when I was doing it 14 years ago.
Exactly.
But now they hated me, but you know, I think that, you know, we like I said, we are very much more aware of what we say and how we do things online for the image of the hobby. And now with this new kind of iteration of the vlog, we have to be even more careful, because now we're having kind of fun with animals again, you know? So now you got to make sure that the animals aren't a tool that people feel you're using as a prop or something on that lines. And so it becomes an even more complicated thing, you know? But let's face it, this is the thing, you know, if you're just, I can't think of one, I mean, I shouldn't say I can't think of one. There's not many purely educational animal channels that thrive, right?
Oh, no.
You know,
Dude,
I mean, you know, there's a couple. You know, Brave Wilderness would be one. You know, he's. You
but
know,
still, he does stuff that's sensational all the time.
Well, no, he definitely does stuff since. I mean, that's the reason why he is popular.
That's my point. If he didn't do any of that stuff,
it
was just education about snapping turtles, ain't going nowhere.
Oh yeah,
right. And we saw that about Animal Planet.
Exactly,
right? I mean, he
100
did the snapping turtle show
as the educational piece first.
Right. And you know, but when he got, I mean, you know, I've known, you know, Coyote for since he was on a completely different channel. Brave Brave Wilderness was actually a subset of an animal channel.
Yeah.
It wasn't even its own channel at the time.
Yeah.
It was actually called Breaking Trail. Actually, it wasn't Brave Wilderness. And it was owned by a company in Canada that he did it with, and he was getting 10, 15, 20,000 views, and maybe sometimes every now and then 30 or 40,000 views. And then, he ended up doing the bite stuff, and that's what crushed him.
Yeah.
And then that's whatever.
Pickle pops and all.
Yeah, pickle pops.
He's crushing, dude.
I mean, dude, we got to do the pickle pops, man.
Listen, I'm not trying to not get good views. Let's get the pickle pop going.
I mean, listen.
It's funny because I just talked about something similar the other day too.
I know we were just talking about pickle popsicles. I mean, he's the world record holder for pickle popsicles, and it's something that's really bothered me.
And I'm trying to get back at it.
For quite some time.
It's one thing that you're the better, bigger animal channel, but you ain't gonna be the bigger pickle popper. Not my friggin' house, dude.
It can't happen, man. I mean, I'm coming for you, Coyote.
So just so you know,
I'm coming for you. Stay
Wolf
brave.
Davidson's coming for you, mister.
Stay brave, man. Be wild. No, I joke about it, but actually, I really like Coyote.
Of course,
he's a great
and his content's
guy,
great.
And his content is great, and he's crushing the game. And I think that I always say that he's the water level, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like to me, I always say, so if I was an animal channel with 3.4 million subscribers, and I was the largest animal channel at 3.4 million, I'd be the benchmark and basically say I wouldn't know where the ceiling was.
Right.
But I can look at Coyote with almost 20 million subscribers and say, I've got that much to go, right?
Yeah,
if Coyote can get to 20 million, why can't I get to 20 million? You know what I'm saying? So Coyote does set the standard for what the ceiling is for animal people. Yeah. And if he eventually breaks out to 30, 40, 50 million, then that ceiling is the next ceiling,
exactly.
Whereas, so you never, you want to be the top. I want to be the biggest channel on YouTube,
Right.
I mean, I want to be the biggest animal channel on YouTube. That's my goal. But that doesn't mean that I want to tear down Brave Wilderness or tear down anything. I want them to thrive. As a matter of fact, like I said, I'd love for them to get to 40 million and then me chase them to 40 million,
Yeah.
But we're different channels and we'll see if we can actually get there.
But the ultimate point is that pure education hasn't worked in 30 years.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I forgot who I was talking to about this, but I was saying how as soon as you start just talking to somebody, especially who's outside of the industry, but maybe they've got a couple snakes,
they got a leopard gecko,
and they enjoy it and they're into it. But as soon as you start maybe talking about like that next level of
it's heterozygous for
their eyes glaze over,
and they've checked out.
They're checking TikTok,
like,
dude.
Oh, dude, 100%, man, 100%.
That's why I don't talk I don't use technical names typically.
Try not to as much
scientific names.
It's
I keep
back to science class.
I keep it pretty dumbed down. People don't realize that I could. I know I'm not the smartest guy in the block, but I know a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I always talk down because I don't want people to think that I'm talking over them.
Right.
I tell my educators here at the Reptarium, people don't want to learn, right? So don't teach them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
have fun.
Have fun.
Exactly.
They're gonna, the kids in here are gonna remember 10% of what you tell them. So, but they're gonna remember 100% of the times that they get to hold a big snake.
Yes.
So let them hold the big snake and then teach them what you can and remember that majority of what you tell them they're not going to remember.
Yeah.
So you don't have to get technical. One of my new educators was really, she had flashcards and she was like really getting into this. And I said, man, don't worry about all that. I said, have a couple cool things. Know what a bearded dragon, where it's from, what it eats, how big it gets.
Facts,
how old does it get? Stuff like that. And beyond that, you don't need to have anything else. You don't need to know it's it's in the Agamidae family or what.
Exactly.
These are things that the kids don't care about. And the same thing with YouTube. And that's why I think some of the more popular channels with the animal things really are more like teaching 12-year-olds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. They're not teaching adults. They're
and even teaching the adults. You go too far in depth, and they're even like, what?
On any subject, it's not just animals.
And that's
talk about saxophone or whatever. Playing music, cameras. People hate it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say. I used to tell my students all the time when I was teaching music. Know your audience.
Right.
Because it's like talking about like improvisational music. They're all like, I want to know how to play like so and so, and it's like, man, just worry about learning how to play your instrument, man. And if you make a mistake, nobody cares. Like I taught some master classes in Massachusetts last month, and that was like one of the biggest questions. It was like, how can I get better at improvisation? I'm like, just play your instrument.
Yep.
And they're like, well, I don't want to make a mistake. And I'm like, think about your audience, man. Like your audience, not like, oh, they should have played a B flat over this chord. They're like, oh my God, they're playing an instrument. That's so cool. So it's like, don't worry about all the technical stuff.
Yeah, it's
man.
a conversation. Every phrase in music you learn is like a new vocabulary word, and you can make bigger sentences. But even in a conversation, you mess up. Who cares? It's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of conversation,
do you have any advice on frill dragons? Asks LOL. Frill dragon care specifically.
So they're actually pretty good. The thing that you got to remember is they do need a little higher humidity than bearded dragons. I think most people make the mistake of thinking a frill dragon's a bearded dragon. Not at all.
Arboreal.
They're arboreal, number one. They do need higher humidity. If you can keep higher humidity with still a decent basking spot, 100, 110 degrees, lots of arboreal trees for them to climb, things.
Decent size enclosure, too.
Decent size enclosure, lots of bugs, obviously calcium, vitamin D, all that type of stuff. They're really, really, really easy animals to care for. As a matter of fact, we just tonight got 5 good eggs from our, and this time, the last couple clutches we've got, and you were telling me, you're like, Lilith is down.
She's been down for like 3-4 days,
And sure enough, she laid tonight. Good. So the last couple clutches we've got, we found them like a day late, and they've been shriveled a little bit. We haven't been able to get them to rehydrate. Oh, really? Tonight, we got them good. So it looks like we've got awesome. 5 good eggs, and so we should have 5 good babies here in another couple months. So,
fingers crossed, baby.
Yeah, so hey, amen.
And then Costas says, first time watching live, love your videos. What type of blue tongue skink do you think I should get for my first one?
100% northern blue tongue skink.
And northerns are great.
Yeah, northerns are great. Yeah, the Indos just aren't that great. The Iranjayas or any of the Indo stuff is just not as good. Halmaheras. I mean, they're still cool animals, but they're not good. Get northern. Northerns aren't that expensive compared to what they used to be. You're going to get a Indo for $150. You're going to get a northern for $300.
It's worth the extra
$50. It's worth the $200 to get an animal that's going to be a lot more docile, a lot better, a lot easier to care for. But you'll love them, bearded, blue tongue skink. See, I tell people this all the time that in Australia, when I've been to Australia, if you go to a pet shop in Australia as a kid, be like, I want my first pet lizard. You would think they would say a bearded dragon, but actually they say blue tongue skink. Blue tongue skink is usually the first pet,
which is crazy.
Lizard. So the reason that's not the case here is we just don't have the production. There's 100,000 bearded dragons are being produced a year, and there's
a lot easier to produce bearded dragons too. Right?
If there's 1,000 blue tongues, it might be a big number.
Right.
So there's 1,000 times the bearded dragons. So people say bearded dragons, and bearded dragons are great. But blue tongues are really
incredible.
Cool easy
to handle too.
They're just easier to care for too.
Overall,
I mean, they're just easy to care for. A lot less work. Bearded dragons are a lot of work. They take a lot of food and they need a lot of bugs and
a lot of cleaning.
A lot of cleaning and stuff like that. So it's cool. But that it, Bit.
That's it, Bit.
All right, guys. So this was a great podcast.
Thank you for joining.
I'd like to thank you all.
Wish you a happy Easter.
This is the way we're going to do the vlog from now on.
Perfect.
Hello.
Monotone.
Yeah. We are going to now feed a snake.
We are going to talk about Terra Humera Mountain Kings.
Terra. So, Appalachie Cola County Kings.
That cadence was so perfect, man.
So good, dude.
All right, guys, man. Love you. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate
Happy Easter,
you.
y'all.
Happy Easter, everybody. God is risen.
We ended on that.